Hello everybody and welcome to the Midwest Regional Finals for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. My name is Keelan Miles on the mic with Sai, and today we've got a banger of a grand finals, a run back from winners finals. It's Northwood University versus Oakland University.
Yes, I am super happy to be here, guys. If you are just tuning in, these matches are going to be the qualifiers that are going to determine which of these universities is going to be competing at the CECC finals. Probably hosted in Texas again, I'm pretty sure. But this is going to be some really exciting stuff. Not only do we have some fantastic players, but just the opportunity to go to the in-person CECC LAN is it's worth it in itself. I've been a caster for a long time, and I genuinely think that every year for CECC, it's probably my favorite event of the year. It's so much fun. The energy is so electric, especially with all the different universities all just converging into one place. So there is a lot on the line here, but I could not be happier to be bringing you this action with none other than the #1 collegiate Smash expert himself, Miles. I am so happy to be here. Any early predictions since we're getting this run back between Oakland and Northwood? What are you thinking this time?
Well, I mean, Oakland's been nipping at Northwood's heels for years and years and years, and it's usually in winners finals, losers finals, grand finals. Oakland gets double eliminated by Northwood, like almost every single time. But they're so close. If you look at them, if you look at the locals, if you look at Battle of the Bads, you look at a bunch of the local tournaments, all these players are trading sets over and over again. And I talked about a run back from winners finals. This is the first time in a long time that Oakland actually took down Northwood. Northwood is coming from the losers bracket, and so with momentum like that, you've got to think that Oakland has this. But if you look at the pure history, Northwood has just come out on top when push comes to shove.
Yeah, and honestly, I can understand why. Like, Northwood has been so consistently good. They have so many great players that I've always seen. Like, Copel is a huge threat, quietly one of the best K rules probably in the entire region. So good pop, super talented Wii Fit trainer. Obviously Jeja, who I think might be the best Kirby in the country. I can't think of anyone in NA that's better, like, unless we go all the way down to like Yuhu from like Mexico or something. But I've had the privilege of casting them a lot, which is cool because this is the Midwest qualifier. So I was like, oh great, I actually know everybody like IRL here. So this has been kind of fun for me, just taking a look here. But yeah, Northwood is really strong. They have a lot of character diversity. The funny thing is, there's not like a ton of like super top tier characters in the roster. Like, you have Z with the Palutena, and like that's a pretty higher tier, close to top tier character. But a lot of them are just like really good mid tier to low tier like character specialists that are just like so good with their character that they just close that gap, and they force a lot of matchup unfamiliarity on you. Even in year 6 of the game, it's still hard to know like the regular workings of like K Rule or Wii Fit or what you really got to watch out for Kirby, because like it's just, you don't get a lot of matchup practice against those characters, and especially at the top level for all these characters. So either way, I'm just really excited to get into the action here.
Yeah, 100%. And like, these people are at the top level. I mean, when you look at a like national power ranking, the Midwest, not to float your boat too hard, side, but the Midwest is pretty high. When you looked at CECC, if you look at our top 8 from this bracket here, 7 out of the 8 teams were at CECC in Texas last year, through last chance qualifiers, through regular season. The Midwest made their name known, and you know who was at the top? Both of them placing 5th last year, Northwood and Oakland. I mean, obviously, they both had a very different path through bracket, but at the end of the day, both of these teams, despite their personal history, made it to that end of the line that we're talking about. And, well, now they're stamping their ticket there once again.
Yeah, and I'm starting to look back, and I remember there were some really crazy moments at finals last year. I remember Frostbite on this ridiculous run, just messing everybody up with his Roy, and I'm really, really excited to see who we're gonna have pop in first. I remember Trisket being a really good Pac-Man. We were casting some collegiate for him at Riptide last year, and there was like this really, really funny moment where he actually jumped in front of the camera, popping off on somebody. So my memory of Trisket is a little bit warped. That tweet is still up there somewhere, but I do remember him being really talented. And again, speaking of niche characters, you might know what I'm talking about. But speaking of like niche characters, again, Pac-Man, really strong. Don't see him as much. I feel like in early Ultimate you saw him a lot. Now it's like a little bit less, but still really good character. He's great at boxing, great at zoning, great at playing keep away, ridiculously strong smash attacks. He feels like someone that can kind of do like he does a little bit of everything. He excels in a couple areas, but like he's just overall just really strong, and that's a hard character to deal with in Cruz too. And then I also see Anthony isn't cool, crazy talented Cloud player, definitely one of the best in the entire Midwest for sure. Seen a lot of matches between like him and like Dice and Anin, everybody just going back and forth and switching wins around. So yeah, this is gonna be a rough one, but that's really cool that Oakland was able to finally beat Northwood for the first time, and I really hope they can keep that momentum. But man, Northwood really does have a strong roster, so it's awesome you were able to upset your bracket demon. Can you do it twice? That's the question we're going to be seeing today.
Yep. And due to the structure of a double elimination bracket, Oakland is actually going to have a 1-point advantage starting at the beginning of this match. So they only have to win 2 crew battles to take home the whole set. Northwood has to win 3. And that gives Northwood a little bit of a wall to their back. They have to really tighten down, get this even scoreline as soon as possible, because if you're trading back and forth as Northwood can often do, I mean, that's just mathematically not in your favor. You need to get a lead or take back a lead and stay in it as soon as possible, because if Oakland smells blood in the water, they're not just going to let you swim.
No, they're going to take any advantage they can get. I mean, even outside of collegiate, like there's just such a high level of competition from their team, like regardless. Like there's so many majors that pop up in the Midwest. Like we had Diamond Dust, we had Riptide. So we used to have Big House, but sadly we don't get to have Big House this year. It would have passed by now, which, I mean, rip, because that tournament's awesome. But, yeah, they really do just have, like, a lot of really talented players there. And if Rob is who I think it is, the really good Snake player, I'm pretty sure. I'm just excited. So I don't think, at least from first glance, there's any, like, hard matchup where I'm like, okay, X player cannot fight blank or else they're going to, like, get, trounced or anything. I just feel like it's a pretty even amount of really, really high talent. I would say slight advantage to Northwood, but not by much. Like, I imagine this is probably going to go down to the wire. And that is the cool thing. They are in the winner side, so they get that extra game for this best of 5. So technically they only have to win 2 games. But nothing really surprises me in Cruz, especially if a player gets a bunch of momentum. You and I have both seen players just go on 10, 11, 12 stock runs, just, it feels like almost every crew battle there's one person that's just going to have, like, just all that momentum, have that, like, Mario Star level invincibility, and just be able to just mow through, like, multiple players at once. But who knows?
Oh, yeah.
I just can't wait to get into this.
I mean,
really,
looking
really
at that momentum, I'm so hyped, because Northwood, I don't want to call them out, but I feel like if they're going to drop a game, it's usually going to be the first game, and then they're like, okay, we're awake, and they start taking names. Well, Northwood had to fight their way through the losers bracket this time, so they're not, like, coming in fresh. They're not coming in cold. They're all warmed up. They had to go through Akron, another team who has been nipping at Northwood's heels, maybe not quite as much as Oakland, but really has made a name for themselves up in the upper bracket. So I'm thinking that Northwood is going to have a very strong start. I would not be surprised to see it go to 1-1 right after the first crew battle, but after that, it becomes a little bit trickier to see who is going to be coming out on top. You were also talking about trading sets back and forth. I was doing some head-to-head research between all these players, and again, they all go to the same locals. They all fight each other like twice a week. So in terms of head-to-head, I don't think there's a single player on Oakland who can't beat any player on Northwood, and vice versa. I mean, there are definite swings back and forth, but there's going to be so much familiarity between these two players. You're going to see things that you wouldn't normally see in someone feeling out their opponent, looking for habits. They already know all that stuff. There's no mystery coming in here. These are two long-term rivals fighting to be at the top of the Midwest again.
Yeah, and that's what gets tricky, too. Because like I was saying earlier, Northwood has a few players on their roster that are playing really high-level versions of characters you don't get to see a lot. But if we're in the scenario where, like, the Northwood players and the Oakland players are at the same locals, a lot of those, like, early shenanigans where you don't really know every niche thing that character is doing, that all gets locked down, and then that's what I want to see. So now you're going to get into those multiple layers of Yomi being like, all right, what did this person do last time, or what cost me the game this time? So I love seeing people that have just had like a long history of sets being able to just go back and forth, and I think that's one of those things that makes both players better over time. Like if you're just competing against someone, especially if you create a rivalry. I love a rivalry personally. It really just pushes you past that next plateau and pushes you to that next level, and really, really makes you just get more creative and more able to adapt to what your opponent's throwing at you. So, yeah, there's going to be some good stuff. But it sounds like the game is ready. We're going to be heading in there in just a moment here to get into this action, and we're going to find out live with you all who's going to take this first game, Northwood or Oakland. Players coming in, it looks like I see Copel, and it is Rob. Super dope Snake player. I've had the pleasure of seeing him at Riptide and I think Big House. So, yeah, this is going to be a really exciting start for us. Nice.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of I was watching a little bit of Oakland versus Wichita last night, and I'll be honest, it was Rob who was coming in clutch a lot lately. Coming into the anchor, taking 5 stocks when Oakland is down. So to put in Oakland, Rob as, well, the opener, that sends a strong message to me that Oakland is looking to get a lead and keep a lead. They do not want to give up this 1-0 lead in the crew battles or give up a stock lead.
Yeah, and I think that's a good start to pick him as well, just because Snake can rack up damage really easily. This matchup is definitely not in K-Rool's favor. There's like some wonky stuff that can be good for him, but one of the biggest things, like we just saw, Nikita just decimates his character's recovery. He really is just a sitting duck, and it's so easy for Snake to rack up a ton of damage, if not just kill outright any single time the K-Rool's off stage. But that aside, Copel's getting some decent damage here, trying to fight back with his projectiles, using the crown of the cannonball to throw out the zoning with the grenades, and little by little he's finding his way. But Rob, once he gets his footing even again, is just going to be able to make this really tough for K-Rool.
Yeah, it's really hard to not take too much chip damage, and especially against Copel, who will, if there's an opportunity for a reversal, Copel's gonna get a reversal. And so Rob has to be incredibly careful anytime you're near state, anytime you're near ledge, anytime you're caught in the end lag just like that, because Copel will just run up, armor through your grenade, and put the pressure on you. Back throw, not gonna quite kill. Snake has got a lot of junk in his trunk, but he is making this work, even 147%.
I'm not gonna lie, I am shocked that back throw did not kill. That back throw is not a very weak one, and Snake was pretty high, but he was exactly, like, probably just within a couple percent heavy enough to survive that. So, is gonna be going on here. I like the way that Copel's adapting. Snake loves to just hang back and throw those grenades, but all that loses to grab, and Copel's found a lot of grabs to kind of open Rob up. But he's just really struggling to take this first stop. Barely living that C4 K-Rool, even heavier than Snake, of course. But Rob in the trade at 173, still alive on this first stock, and that's exactly what you need for Oakland University to secure this momentum.
Rob 100% was willing to lose that stock and somehow survived. 200%? Are you kidding me? Against Copel, that is unbelievable. If Oakland is somehow able to keep this lead, which I can't see Copel letting happening, that would be breathtaking for them. Rob will end up going down, and now Copel is put in a position to try and steal a stock from Snake, which is, against Rob Snake in particular, is not an easy task.
Yeah, Rob is very, very defensive. He's very fast at adapting to your habits, but more than anything, he's very risk-averse. Like, if he doesn't think it's going to happen, he won't go for it. Like, even that dash attack was a little risky right there, but 9 times out of 10, he's fine to just camp with the grenades, but unfortunately survives the spike, but buffers an air dodge and loses that stock anyway. Copel pulling this game out by the skin of his teeth, evening things up, only 47% separating them. Huge play for Northwood.
We said Copel needed to commit some thievery, and that's exactly what I saw there. And 65%, that's nothing on K-Rool. Even though Snake is going to do chip damage, one good opening, especially at 0, is all Copel really needs. Looking for maybe a landing fair, a pop-up with that crown, anything will work. You just need Rob to make a mistake, and, well, with down air on shield, the crown gonna finish them off. Oakland will start off with a lead, but not before Copel took his chunk of flesh.
Yeah, Copel definitely did his job and took that second stock off Rob in a really, really clutch way too, because that was not looking good for him. But Rob, you can definitely tell he started playing. He said, "I took that personally. Did not take any percent as soon as he landed back from that Angel platform." And Chef's Kiss ended up killing Copel with his own crown, which is so funny. He's just like, "Mister, I think you dropped this. You left this over here on the floor. I'm gonna take that stock from you." But yeah, really good stuff to Rob. Definitely wasn't ready for that back air. I mean, even though he teched it, it's one of those things where it's hard not to panic. I mean, K. Rool's so strong. You get spiked by him. It's rare you get another opportunity to live. But either way, great stuff to Oakland for sure. Going to be up one stock here. I'm curious to see who Northwood is going to send in next. They've got some great characters to pick from. I could definitely see them sending in So Good Pop. Actually, my hard call would be probably ZA, just because Palutena Snake is traditionally really, really frustratingly annoying for Snake. She shuts out a lot of his options just by way of just spacing out those back airs, being able to auto reticle when he's holding grenades. There's a lot of stuff she can do. She can just get away with for free on Snake. So who knows? My soft prediction is Z, but either way, we're going to see here in just a moment. But yeah, definitely a strong start for the Oakland team.
Yeah, I'm, by the way, 100% with you on ZA. Not only is ZA great for dealing with the Snake, but, like, let's be real. What matchups does Palutena lose in the same way other characters lose matchups? It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm losing this matchup. But are you? Come on, be serious. It's like, I can't see ZA going into a match and being like, oh no, this is unwinnable. So I think ZA is a very safe pick here. But regardless, you're going to have to deal with the fact that Rob is not going, like you said, plays very cautious, plays to the back, is constantly layering on chip damage. And sure, you might get your own chip damage in there, but I feel like in any interaction where you go even with Rob is taking advantage from that.
For sure. And especially once he gets a lead, it is obviously, it's been said to death, but it is so very hard to take a lead back from Snake. Like, if he's up 2 stocks and just, like, hanging out on the other side of the world with 2 grenades and just a whole bunch of C4s and stuff, it is such a chore to take that game back out of his hands. But, again, Palutena is a great character to do it. I mean, vertically, up air just shreds Snake. Back air really, really just shuts all of his options down horizontally. So it's one of those things where, like, Snake at all costs has to keep both boots on the ground and just be really, really cautious, because once it gets to any air-to-air scenario, it doesn't really matter what's happening. Palutena has a solid chance of just taking the game back from you. So hopefully when we get into this, Rob can at least, take another stock. Doesn't necessarily want to lose that first one, wants to keep that lead going, doesn't want to tie things up. But we will be finding out who they're sending in just a moment.
And well, that arena seems to confirm it. It's ZA coming in. And, I mean, we talked death the way this Palutena can choke out Snake. But when you're looking at how Rob is going to have to deal with all those oppressive tools, I mean, it feels like there's just a screen between you and Palutena. Because half the time there kind of is.
Yeah, half the time there is. She can just throw up that reflector and just shut you down. She can blow up your grenades in your hand with auto reticle, which is also hitting you. So you can be like, oh, let me play some neutral. And you're like, why did I just take 32 and I'm all the way over here? So yeah, it can get rough. So I am curious to see what a player of Rob's caliber does against a high-level Palutena, though. I don't want to necessarily say this is all determined just by the matchup. I want to see how it plays out.
100%. As we see just some initial pressure on the shield. Like you said, auto reticle making it near impossible to pull those grenades safely. But when Palutena's in scrapping distance, in ledge trapping distance, it gets a little bit easier. And yet, Rob is under a lot of pressure right there. B-reverse grenade to get off of the ledge. And finally, a little bit of stage control and no percent for it. Rob works so hard to get in there. And then nothing. A little bit of chip damage.
You can already see the desperation. If a Snake is coming on the stage with the reverse grenade, they are out of options. They're like, I really need to find my way back down to the ground here because it's looking rough. But Rob able to find some good damage there with those dares. I love how he's able to sneak those in, and those neutralers, honestly. He landed a ton of those last game. Didn't really get to point that out. But this is kind of what I expected. The projectiles are just really hard for Snake to deal with. And that down smash from coast to coast just going to give ZA an easy pickup, and now we have things even, which unfortunately is kind of what I predicted to see from Northwood right there.
Yeah, back and forth, to and fro. I can't see any team getting a hard stomp right here. Maybe one player will go on a run at some point, but that very player will be countered to all heck the next game. I mean, we've seen it before. Frostbite going on these crazy 7-stock runs. Next game, gets 2-stocked. And it's like, what happened? I thought it was hot. So now comes the question of the counter pick for ZA. I feel like Rob played that as well as he really could, but we talked to death about how it was just so oppressive to try to get any lead, any chip damage in against Palu.
Right. It is genuinely just so tough. So looking at the options here, there is still Anthony isn't cool. Incredibly strong Cloud player. I imagine they're probably going to save Anthony for their anchor. And if I really, really want to be meta, I'd probably assume that he's for their anchor. And also is probably going to be sent in once Jage is defeated, because I feel like Kirby has a lot of really crazy ways to just take Cloud out of there, and I'm sure that Jage and Anthony have had 100,000 games together. I'm sure it's going to be tough. But other than that, they do have Spectral, Trisket, of course, the Pac-Man player, or Avian or Nad. Who do you think they're going to throw in against Northwood?
This is an out there one, but I'm kind of feeling Avian. I was seeing a lot of good stuff from Avian previously, and Palutena is good at being oppressive, but she can kind of struggle to actually make that approach. Add that to the fact that her recovery, once you force her into using up B, I mean, it's a set timing. If there's any player here, any character here who is going to get a set timing recovery, it's going to be Avian on the min-min. Just very oppressive ledge setups, can steal a stock at 30, at 50, at 90, no matter what. It's actually going to be Nad coming in here, and I don't hate that. I mean, Mario's the all-rounder, sure, but I feel like he has a lot of tools to, get through the walls of zoners and then scrap just like the rest of them.
Yeah, Mario versus Palutena, we're actually just going to be having ourselves kind of an honest one here. I feel like if Nad is really, really on the ball, we could definitely see those extended Mario strings, those up air ladders, and the up B or dare could be a huge threat here. But if Nad misses and gets hit with Z's like reversal up air, Mario's dying mad early to that. He loves pressuring you up there from the top, but it's one of those things where it's like if you take a shot at the king, you cannot miss, because if you're in a scramble midair, like especially like a couple jumps off a platform, Palutena is taking your stock. That up air is enormous. It's just a K rule sized hitbox just floating around above her, and it's got like 9 hits to it. Like it's very hard to deal with. So definitely gonna have to see a lot of really, really careful play here. But other than that, I don't think either one's zoning is gonna be like a huge, huge problem. Maybe a little bit of side B from Palutena could get annoying, but I think it's gonna be a scrappier one if anything.
And with a lot of teams' stage ban strategies, I have been noticing that Nad gets to play on Battlefield, like, a lot more than any Mario reasonably should get to play on Battlefield. So I'm curious, like, even without Battlefield, Mario is a threat. I don't want to pretend Mario can't just kill you on FD with doing nothing, but even so, I'm curious to see. It's just going to be small Battlefield here, no top platform, but Nad's still going to get some crazy extensions and aggressive right out the gate. No taunt in a 3v3.
Yeah, no time to relax. Z went crazy right there, but Mario, obviously this isn't Battlefield, but still very strong on the stage, very easy to set up those ladders, especially if you're able to find a setup that lets you like full hop up there onto that platform. It's really easy to take a stock. I've seen Karama do some devious things on the stage, so Z's got to be careful. All right, great job from Z. DIing towards the middle, making sure that Mario doesn't get the platform extensions he needs to finish the combo, but Nad still getting a crazy amount of damage just 30 seconds into the stock.
See, everyone talks about Mario's vertical combos, but his horizontal combo game, his ability to follow you across stage, is still one like top 10, top 15. Like, he is tracking Z down on all of these platform tech chases and getting a lot of percent for it.
Yeah, Mario's just so good. It's one of those things where, like, his game plan is honest but dishonest kind of at the same time. But it's not like a gimmick where you're like, oh, they're just going to look for something janky. Like, Mario's just playing really good fundies with you, even though his tools are stubby, but it is very easy for him to just rack up damage off anything, any aerial, really any throw. There's just so much to look out for. It's hard to, like, pin Mario down on, like, a dedicated weakness.
Yeah, I mean, even right now, even though it seems like he's struggling to kill, that's just because Nat is playing this safe, he's playing it consistent, not looking to get too aggressive off stage where Z could possibly get a reversal, because you know that's all Palu wants right now. Yeah, even though that's not killing, I'm glad that Nat is not overcommitting right now. Waiting until all the resources are expended before going in for a ledge trump or something like that.
Alright, back from center stage. Gonna be enough to do it. Nearly 200% off Z for that first stock. That was insane. And Nat immediately finding another 33% right off the Angel platform. A lot of momentum riding on Oakland right now. Nat hasn't been hit in nearly 40 seconds, and that's what I was talking about, the full hop on the platform. Z just barely was able to drift away from what easily could have been another stock right there, and only a couple hits of neutral air have been come from the Northwood team. So Z's got to find something and find it quick.
Yeah. I hate to talk about 2-year-old nerfs, but like, Palutena really is struggling at these mid percents. Like, Z is not really able to confirm true out of anything, and Nad's not giving Z anything untrue, and so you're getting soft hit aerials, you're getting late hits, you're getting maybe a 2-hit combo, but for the most part, Z is just fishing for a stray disjointed aerial, and not that Palutena's bad at it, it's just that Nad's great at avoiding it.
Exactly. Nat is playing so evasive. It feels like Palutena and Mario have like somewhat of a similar ground speed, so Nat is just being super evasive, just kind of like, not necessarily circle camping, but just forcing Z to chase, and as soon as he overextends or spot dodges or panics, is able to just find more options here. But yeah, 120%. Nat hasn't really been trapped off stage too much either. Let's see if this other back throw does it. Yes! 2 back throws for Nat. Now Oakland in a really strong position here. Especially, honestly, all this rage on Mario, if he's able to find a ladder at these percents, Z could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Z looking for a ledge trap now, looking for an opportunity. No 2-frame, though, and no ability. Nice. Is this a reversal? No! Just a quick forward air to get off me tool. Explosive Flame will finish the stock. 2 stocks to 1 now, but Z is certainly looking for any breath of fresh air. This Nair train could be the one, though.
Yeah, Z got to make something shake. That forward air literally was the only reason that Z is still in this game right here. But great stuff and great presence of mind to find that side B in the scramble as well. Z definitely coming alive, getting a lot of damage here, rolling away, not going to worry about that jab block. Again, narrowly avoiding death. But let's see if this edge guard leads to something. Nat with no jump, but Z not able to cover, tries to find the ledge trump, but Nat, once again, so good defensively. And now Z, 99%, trying to find his way back to the stage here, and it is almost all but sealed out. And as I say that, Northwood, again, with a super clutch comeback, able to take that stock, and now, even though the percents are rough, they're only 1 stock apiece, and this was so close to being a 3 stock for the Oakland team. Amazing adaptations by Z.
Basically every single thing Nat has done on shield this whole game has been safe on shield, but I'm loving how Z is sometimes doing a little dash dance before putting up their shield, mixing up what way they're facing, so you do have that up smash if Nad tries to cross you up. But speaking of a cross up, not going to work against Mario. That's a forehead for you, and Z is going to fall. Oakland once again with a slight lead over Northwood.
Man, I have to say, the clutch factor on the Northwood team is so high. Like, literally, that could have been a 3 stock. If that forward air was maybe 2 frames slower, that would have been the end for Palutena. But to be able to survive that scenario, take that momentum, and take 2 more stocks, excellent play from Z. Definitely did his job for sure. You know, anytime your player takes 3 stocks, you're like, hey, that's like the bare minimum. You're good to go. They are still down by only 1, but that was very, very close to running out of their hands. So I'm curious to see who Northwood is going to send in next. I know they've still got Malachite, really, really solid Snake player, I believe. Then there's Jaja, and there's So Good Pop. And there's Frostbite, the Roy, too. So honestly, it feels like they don't. I mean, they just have a roster full of really strong players, and their matchup spread is interesting. It's like,
yeah. I mean,
I don't know how to put their matchup spread. It's like Frostbite, for example, the Roy. You can send Roy in against most of the cast and probably be fine. So Good Pop and Jaja on paper, we fit in Kirby, not that crazy, but plenty of ways for them to sneak in and like counter pick well too. So I'm not sure. I can't really predict who they're gonna put in.
Yeah, you really do want to save a lot for these counter picks. Like for example, we know Poison Jam is on the other side on the Kazuya. I know usually, I mean, Kirby's ground game doesn't beat Kazuya's ground game, but it does make it really frustrating for Kazuya to get any movement. So by withholding Jeja, you make sure Poison Jam can come out. It's the same thing with Copel. Until Copel is out on the stage, you are probably not going to see Nad come out either, because Nad is the one who's going to be able to rush down through Copel. So it creates this little, like, players aren't forbidden from coming out. I think any player can win against any other on the other team, but you don't want to. You don't want to be forced into an unfavorable matchup. And so I wouldn't hate to see Frostbite in the latter half of this game now. I think Frostbite has the explosive potential to just take down this one stock, and then even if it's a losing matchup, still do work against whoever comes in next. I mean, that's just the strength of Roy. Like, even if you're in a very bad matchup, if they make a mistake at 30%, they might just be dead.
Especially if you have that Rage. My goodness, Rage Side B has made examples of all of us at all levels of play in this game. So, yeah, I could definitely see that being a solid option there. Or Jaja, but then as you said there's a Kazuya coming, then, yeah, I imagine Kirby Kazuya is probably really scary because I can't think of a single button that Kirby has that successfully deals with electric. Like, that just covers really his whole range,
I mean,
so who knows?
Jaja plays very grounded, though. Plays around that down tilt, plays around that forward tilt to set up tech chases, and I'm going to be honest, I've seen a lot of Kazuyas flounder under that pressure when you're looking for an opportunity to, get your one combo starter. So instead, Kazuya's looking for stray hits, which is not what you want to be doing as Kazuya. As Kazuya, if you're not winning in 3 interactions, then what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And we've seen that before. I've seen definitely. I think I remember at Diamond Dust, it was Riddles and it was like a pools match. The entire best of 5 set was 4 minutes, and I was just by game 3. I was just like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say. Like it's just. I think the longest game in the set was like 1:10. Like Kazuya can just really run through you. But it looks like we are going to be getting Jaja, so it's going to be Jaja versus Nat trying to take off that last stock there. And I definitely believe that Jaja can do it. I wouldn't be surprised if Nad took one before he went out, though, because he was playing really, really hot at that opening against Z. But he's going to have to, for sure, stay grounded and at all costs stay in the middle of the stage, because Mario's recovery is a little bit lackluster, and I can see Jaja taking advantage of it very, very easily if Nad is not careful.
100%. So it's going to be Nad down to 2 stocks, which again, as Oakland, has to kind of hurt. I mean, we've talked about Northwood being clutch, but the conversation does need to be had about how Oakland holds on to these 2 stock to 3 leads. Because, yeah, you can talk about Northwood being clutch all day, every day, but you still have to acknowledge that Oakland is not a passive participant in that. Oakland has the opportunity to finish off these stocks in last hit scenarios. Maybe it's a little nerves, maybe it's just Northwood plays different on last stock, but regardless, you've got to be ready for that as Jaja looking to make this even here.
Yeah, and right now you see Jaja got a pretty solid lead here. Just spacing really carefully. Definitely want to stay a little bit away from the ledge and definitely away from those platforms against Mario. The down tilt trip gonna give Jaja some extra damage there and an excellent extension using the Nair to clink with the fireball and force Nad back off stage. So Jaja's definitely playing really hot, and that back air is gonna set that up nice and easy. Only 35%. Jaja just evening things back up, no sweat.
Yeah, and I mean, Jaja played that so clean, played it so a lot of the falling aerials, even a lot of the grabs just weren't connecting when you thought they should, with the pullbacks, with the pancaking. It was really tough for Nad, even with Mario's immense mobility, to get anything more than a couple stray hits here or there. No huge extensions. And so now, with Jaja on the board, it's time for another counter pick. And we've been talking about Anthony Isn't Cool maybe coming in for the anchor position. I think now more than ever is the time for Anthony Isn't Cool. I mean, if any character is going to be able to cover the ground game... Actually, I see your face, and I'm remembering Cloud's recovery, and I'm thinking, maybe not. But, no. Shoot me down. Make your pitch.
Okay. It's not that I don't think Anthony could do it, and honestly, I'm probably going to pull up a Smash app in a second just to see what their head-to-head is, because I'm sure, again, it has to be crazy. Any other character on that roster, I would be like, sending Anthony in is a good idea. But, my God, Kirby just shreds Cloud's recovery. It is so bad. Like, just any one hit of down air. It doesn't even need to be the whole thing. You take that little bit of momentum from Cloud, he's just cooked. But we're going to see if Anthony can do it anyway. We're going to see.
Okay. I'll accept my apology via Venmo or just, you know, a good set. But, right now, it's 6 stocks to 6 stocks. We got 2 of the best players on both sides, and the reason I called out Cloud is, yeah, you get Cloud off stage, it's bad, but a lot of players can say that. But if you're not off stage, it's so tough for Kirby to get anything done. All of Cloud's aerials cover the ground so well, but once Jaja gets the opening, it's good. Beyond that, Anthony's got the up beat as the get off me tool, and so Jaja, the ground game is where you're in the most danger.
For sure. And I like the way that Anthony is playing, of course, spacing out very, very well using fair, bair, and even up air as we saw. I love the way he's like kind of like threatening Jaja's shield, waiting a little bit, and then sneaking in those side Bs. That's been really smart. He does have limits, so you see Jaja taking to the skies, trying to... Ooh!
What?
Okay.
Surviving, barely. Nope. Goes for the footstool off stage, but Anthony has the map. Goes for another one. Come on, Jaja. Anthony is going to get back on stage, and now you've got shield pressure galore. Jaja is has to stay well outside of Cloud's burst range, but for an up smash on shield is not going to cut it against Jaja. Jaja's going to take it to the bank. Ledge Trump's not going to cut it, though, as dash attack is not quite going to finish the stock.
Yeah, not quite going to do it there, but this is what I was talking about. Now, I will say, Anthony went directly into main character mode because there were 3 different opportunities I thought that Jaja was going to be able to steal that stock despite all that momentum. Oh, wow! And Anthony showing him, I am the footstool master. I am going to be edge guarding you today, and I am not going to let this matchup go the way you think it is. Crazy first stock from Anthony.
There's a sentiment that, like, if a recovery is slow, there's a lot of versatility there. But, like, at the end of the day, Jaja really had only one route back to stage, and so Anthony covered it, knowing that Jaja couldn't afford to throw out an aerial that close to the blast zone. And so now we see Anthony isn't cool holding this lead, getting some nice chip damage on this second stock, but a nice parry on the recovery is going to put Anthony, not quite able to recover. And so it's an even stock across the board.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely, out of everything that could have given Cloud, I definitely didn't think Kirby jab finisher would be what did it. But even with that limit, getting jab that far out without your jump, just going to unfortunately not be enough to make it back to the stage here. But either way, it looks like Anthony is, of course, doing a great job of not letting Jaja get any of these low percent combos because that up B at a disadvantage seems really tough for Kirby to deal with on stage.
That it is, as Anthony putting on some ledge pressure, put on a back air. Jaja, again, this slow recovery, it's predictable, it's not predictable, and I feel like with Cloud's insane airspeed, especially with limit, you just have so much versatility to go for those footstools. It doesn't put you in end lag, and if not, you're double jumping back to stage.
Yeah, so now Jaja, really, really high percents here. Anthony only at 30. You see Jaja immediately being like, hey, bro, fight me over near the ledge. Wink, nothing's going to happen, wink. Trying to hang out by the corners, trying to force another really early edge guard, possibly for Kirby. But Anthony's not taking the bait, staying grounded, staying towards the center, and now got that limit to boost, so Jaja's got to be really careful.
Yeah, that get off me tool is not going to help you much on the platform, as in that scramble situation, the one with the disjoint's usually going to come out on top there, and yet Jaja still persists, still trying to run them down on the ground, but Anthony isn't cool, is going to push Jaja off the edge. Back air not going to connect, and Jaja has very little real estate to play with, is able to get Anthony off stage again.
Wow, fighting back to the stage with that aggressive up air was so smart. Jaja was looking for a trade, and as I say that, Northwood will never let you really hold on to a lead because Jaja finds that stock, is able to take it, and now even percent, only 8% separating them, barely making it back to the stage. That Les Trump bear could be a huge problem. Anthony has to find his way back to the center. Wow, Jaja took so much momentum just from getting that down smash a second ago.
Yeah, this is getting pretty intense for them. Ooh, lands on the ground. Up B. I mean, as it stands right now, it's a scramble, and at the ledge, who's going to take it? It's going to probably be Anthony, but he can't close it out. As even with limit, you've got to be careful about throwing out any option. Jaja's waiting for any end lag to capitalize on.
right, especially this limit side B. It's coming. The writing's on the wall. Kirby's shield is so low. What an incredible drill from Anthony to keep himself safe in that scenario. My God, that was so incredibly smart. So many other people died right there. What presence of mind from Anthony to drift that to the ledge after that huge whiff. That was just really, really brilliant play right there from Anthony Isn't Cool.
Yeah, this is really fantastic, and right now, this is a very weird spread we have going down the line. It's, you know, even, then not even. Even, then not even. I would be shocked if whoever comes out from the side of Northwood doesn't put this at 3 stocks to 3 stocks. But there's one problem. Every single time that Oakland has had this counterpick advantage, they've come out with 1 stock ahead. Z came out 1 stock ahead. Or Copel came out 1 stock ahead, then Z came out 1 stock ahead, or sorry, other way around. Rob, Nad, Anthony Isn't Cool, all coming out 1 stock ahead consistently against this Northwood team, and that begs the question: is that 1 stock lead going to decide it all here?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but I have to say, I think the biggest threat for Anthony Isn't Cool was definitely JJ, and even though he won that, it was definitely a very hard-fought battle. But now there's going to be a little bit of a sigh of relief probably on his side. He's just like, look, we're up a stock. You know the vibes. Just want to try to make sure I get at least 1 more here. But even if Anthony isn't able to do it, they still have players like Spectral, really talented Lucina player. They have Avian, who you mentioned. They also have Trisket, the Pac-Man. So they've still got some good options here. Northwood, most likely, I would assume, is going to send in maybe So Good Pop. I feel like Malachite is good, but I feel like Snake kind of struggles with Cloud, so I'm not sure if you necessarily want that to be your anchor or... Wait, no, Northwood still has Frostbite, don't they? Oh, yeah, maybe it'll be Frostbite, actually. That might be my
I'm thinking Frostbite comes out, again, just for that explosive ability. I mean, you're both going to be struggling a little bit at ledge, but, like, not that much, and in the scrap game, I feel like it's going to be Frostbite who has the biggest edge. It just leaves you open to be counterpicked, and that's all that's on my mind, and I'm sure it's all that's on Northwood's mind too, knowing that no matter who they get sent out, it's going to be someone who is going to get counterpicked hard, and so you've got to be very, very cautious. It's going to be So Good Pop coming out on the tail end of Northwood in this first crew battle. So Good Pop has an opportunity to put Northwood at an even crew battle score, but Oakland, if they're able to hold on to this lead, if Anthony Isn't Cool is able to get a stock lead, it's going to be big.
So, speaking of characters that have like unique ways to gimp Cloud, Wii Fit Trainer, also really, really good at gimping Cloud. Wii Fit Trainer loves to just play from the ledge and throw those headers out to either hit you with like the physical hitbox itself or just the ball. Really easy ways to just like kind of sneak you off stage that you're not ready for. So again, Anthony's gonna have to lock in, but I could definitely see So Good coming out, taking that first stock and giving us 3 stocks apiece. But either way, we're gonna be finding out in a second how this is gonna go down. Anthony's just gonna have to be really, really cautious about what he's doing towards the ledge. You don't necessarily want to like trade with Wii Fit side B, especially if it's like low percent and it starts to snowball, lead to those nairs and those other big combo starters. But Anthony has a lot of good momentum coming in, being able to defeat JJ today. So who knows how this is going to go down.
Yeah, this is a big one. I feel like perhaps a wrong stage. We'll get that back in check, but yeah, I'm thinking maybe the reason you want to send So Good Pop out now is because, I mean, again, I wouldn't say Wii Fit Trainer is like hard wins every single matchup against the enemy team, but maybe they feel like So Good Pop won't get counterpicked as hard as Frostbite, just because of the fact that like So Good Pop is used to playing this unique style that's like, you're not counterpicking Wii Fit, you're counterpicking SGP. So we'll see how they're able to manage that here, as Anthony Isn't Cool 1 stock. So we'll see how this plays out. If Anthony is able to steal 1, that'd be huge for Oakland.
Yeah, that could be very, very big for Oakland. That means that their counterpick is going to be a little bit easier. And honestly, Oakland has consistently had a 1 stock lead this entire match. which doesn't sound like a lot, but it really can just be such a huge difference maker on just how you're dealing with the momentum, how you're dealing with counter picks, all kinds of things. Right now, you see So Good Pop immediately already took that deep breath, and Anthony's got to be very careful. Shield getting really low, gonna have to use that cloud movement speed to kind of just, you know, mitigate trying to get that shield to come back to normal. But either way, So Good Pop at the ledge, still got deep breathing on. You see Anthony respecting it, just trying to sneak some back airs in and trying to see if they can find another big opening, especially now that Limited is back.
Yeah, all right. See how...
Ooh!
Oh! The finishing touch? In a scramble situation, So Good Pop tries to drop down. It isn't cool, isn't having any of it. And now, forced off stage, still has a double jump, so able to do a very high recovery, but that option is not afforded to anymore. So Good Pop knows it, sees the blood in the water, capitalizes, and that is a stock taken from So Good Pop, but we're still on the last player.
Northwood is really just getting hit with the shenanigans today. That finishing touch in that scramble was so smart from Anthony. So Good was only at 60%. That's so unfortunate. He immediately took the stock right after, so you know he was definitely firing on all cylinders. But listen, sometimes destiny feels like it's kind of just decided something, because Oakland will keep that one stock lead, even going all the way into the finals, 3 stocks to 2. And such a crazy way to have that happen as well. But now, taking a look down at Oakland, so we know we have So Good Pop with 2 stocks left. We've got a couple of options here. We've got Trisket, the Pac-Man. We've got Spectral, Napolitana. And then who did you say Avian plays again? I forget.
The Avian's on the Min, most definitely. And we saw Avian come in as a counter pick for... there was a Ness who was really putting the screws onto Oakland previously, was able to put a lot of work in, and that's who we're going to be seeing now. And I love this, because as So Good Pop, it forces you to vary your entire game plan. Entirely different matchup, because you cannot ever be caught lingering, not even by the ledge, but like just by the side platform whatsoever. Center stage is the name of the game, and if you're trying to control the stage from the side as Wii Fit against Min, that's going to be tough with Min-Min's range.
Yeah, that's genuinely just really, really hard. Not a lot of people really punish Wii Fit for hanging out the ledge, but no one says get off that ledge like Min. Nobody in this entire cast does that, especially with like Ram attached. So, yeah, definitely going to be a tough one. I feel like the other problem with that, even if he's playing on stage and like is very cognizant of where he cannot go, a lot of Wii Fit's biggest combo starters come from like falling with those either neutral airs or occasionally forward air. Ram shuts all that down too. So I feel like on paper, this is probably just like a really, really tough matchup. Min's recovery, maybe not the best in this matchup, but other than that, off stage and on stage for Min seems really, really solid. So let's see what So Good Pop has, and let's see if So Good Pop can maybe take this back and even up the score a little bit, because since Oakland's on the winner's side, they are already up a game, and this is only a best of 5. So let's see how this goes down. And let's see if
Avian needs to
can decide this.
Yeah, I really want to see this happen. If you're Oakland, you do not want to go to an even game. You don't want to go to a best of 3. Anything can happen in a best of 3. You want to go to match point. You want to have Northwood with their back against the wall every single time, so if they ever lose a lead, all of a sudden the pressure's on. Though, now that I say that, part of me is just like, wait, hold on. Will Northwood do what they do always, where they're like, oh, we're down 2 stocks to 1. Now we're back up. Like, this is kind of brutal for them. So Good Pop dropping very low, precariously low. But a Nair will put them on the ledge. So Good Pop just trying to find this opening, but even getting the landing Nair isn't able to get a combo.
Yeah, definitely not seeing the advantage we're used to seeing here. So Good Pop at 71%, which for Min is pretty high, because before I could even get it out, now that Megawatt is on deck, and those headers are going to be rough because it looks like they clank with those Min smash attacks, which is really bad because they were already pretty active, so them extending further is even tougher. I love the way that Avian is so good about those anti-airs too, sneaking into those up tilts and up smashes to make sure that Wii Fit's big combo starters just don't happen to Min, and now this is the stage, this is the scenario you want to be if you're Avian. You're controlling the center, you've got, oh, footstool dare, just as another reminder that So Good can't play with your shield, but a lot of different ways to just take that stock if So Good is even a little bit lazy to push.
Ooh, coming down, deep breathing online. So good pop is gonna get caught by the anti-air. One stock between Northwood and being against match point. Oakland, you want Avian to take this with all your heart, because if you let Northwood get even an iota of a lead, well, I'm gonna be honest, they might wait until they're on last stock to win with it, but they're gonna win with it.
Yeah, I fully agree here. So we definitely need to see Avian kind of continue playing this way, just staying in the center stage. That's another really scary thing. Her getting that powered up Dragon's Breath is awful for Wii Fit, because she's one of the very few characters that hard punishes Wii Fit for like lingering midair trying to come back to the stage. You know, they'll go out there and try to get a header or a deep breathing, but Min doesn't have to play any of that game. This pressure from Avian is insane, and now a rough looking recovery for So Good Pop. Great drift above, and Avian freaking out and down airing, trying to find a clutch moment for the game, but gonna throw that stock away.
I mean, maybe you're looking for some kind of reversal, but I think playing safe is probably the better pick, and yet you have the leeway to go for those options for now. That leeway is not forever. It's not infinite. And with these combo starters, Footstool out of shield again. Ram Nair is going to take it, or Megawatt Nair, rather, and Avian is going to put Oakland at a 2-0 lead with a 2-stock lead at the end of the road. Right here, Oakland took a lead in the beginning, and they held on to it all the way till she came home.
Yes, I genuinely think, like, Avian played that very, very well. Obviously, the down air might have just been LOL for the memes, who knows? But other than that, played that matchup just flawlessly, and I hadn't watched Wii Fit versus Min, just because that's just kind of a niche matchup for both characters. But in my head, I'm like, it's probably pretty good for Min. And seeing it out loud, seeing it live, I'm like, man, there's so many areas that specifically Min covers that other characters just can't. Because even when we first started, we saw So Good Pop go really down to the bottom blast zone, trying to find a deep breathing, being like, hey, maybe I could do it here. But like that lazy drifting back to the ledge horizontally, Min eats you alive for that. Dragon's Breath was a huge problem. Up smash was a huge problem, but more than anything, I didn't know that Min's footstool dare at a shield was going to be that consistent every time they were in that scramble, and So Good Pop finally did get in, so it has to be so frustrating clawing your way into neutral in that matchup just to get sent right back and in a rough position, because being above Min is awful. So great work from Avian.
Yeah.
I feel like for the most part, the really crazy clutch plays were coming from Northwood to even things up. But then Anthony gets that one finishing touch, and it's just like, all right, they're still going to be down a stock going into this. And Oakland was able to take it 2-0, so, or 2 stocks to 0 at the end of that. So great start for them. They are now on tournament point here to see if they are going to be able to qualify for CECC finals in 2025. Again, personally, my favorite event every year. I absolutely love that tournament. I love of course, the community and all the players getting to hang out, but I love getting to hang out with you, Miles, and with all the homies there, where we're just kind of like having fun in Texas. Frankly, I miss Terry Black's, so whoever wins this, if you do make it to Texas, you have to go to Terry Black's as a team. I miss that barbecue so bad. I might go to Texas just to
it's
eat.
binding. It's binding at this point. You gotta go.
You
But
gotta go.
yeah, I'm hype, and both these teams at this point have stamped their ticket. And sometimes you see people go like, maybe I don't want to like go all out right now, but they do. I mean, again, Northwood doesn't lose to Oakland, and Northwood goes down to Oakland, and now Oakland's up 2-0. Northwood wants this. They want this win very badly. You do want that top 4 seeding, though, especially. It can sometimes get you a bye. It can sometimes get you through that round 1 where, like, you're still kind of waking up in the morning. It's like Friday. You're like, oh, I don't know. Like, you gotta get anything you can get. And when we're looking at, like, what they can get, we talk about Northwood's clutch plays, but I just want to moneyball this for a second, because if you look at the consistency across the board, Rob took 3 stocks. Nad took 3 stocks. Anthony took 4 stocks, and Avian took 2, just because, like, you know, Anthony stole 1 from him. And, like,
Really
that isn't what you see as much. Kopel opening up, taking 2 because of that. Z taking 3, Jasia taking 3, but Sogapop also taking 2. It's these, like, 1 stock differences. It is not one player coming on a run, and Northwood is stopping those runs from happening, but only just that. They're just stopping it. And these minute advantages are pushing through this clutch factor consistently. And so if they want to find a way to match them, you've got to get out of these clutch scenarios, get into this consistency that Oakland has found.
Yeah, that's really the main thing. Consistency. Because Northwood is still really strong, and I feel like they're just barely missing the mark here. I'm kind of curious to know if maybe in the second round here, maybe they'll send in Frostbite. Again, super talented player. Would love to see him pop in here at some point for anything. But again, the roster is strong. It's just they're just barely out of this, and they're just barely out of this even with making really big plays. Like, Copel only took 2 stocks. One of those 2 stocks was highway robbery, and that was kind of like just to keep it even. Same thing with Z. Like, Z almost got fared and almost got 3-stocked by Nad and just barely got out of there. So they've definitely got to just get in the driver's seat somehow. Send in someone that can get you like a comfortable lead. I think Copel is a pretty solid player to start with, but I would maybe send in someone a little bit more aggressive, maybe someone a little bit more overwhelming just to start the crew battle. Maybe start with Frostbite just to get like some early blood drawn on your side. Then once you're more into like matchup checking and the pace is slowed down a little bit, then you send in somebody like Copel. But I'm just a caster. I'm just here. You know, I'm at my house. I'm not competing. So, you know, take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I'm curious to see how they're starting. And it looks like they're starting with Anthony versus Copel, which is crazy because I would expect Anthony to be their anchor. So it looks like Oakland is like, you know what? We're already up 2 games. I want to really hammer this home, and we're going to start with potentially our scariest player at the start to throw Northwood off of their rotation picks.
Yeah, if Anthony is able to get a lead, because again, Anthony took 4 stocks last time, the pattern would show that doing such a thing again would put Northwood on with their back against the wall. And I do just want to contextualize how huge this is, because like, yeah, last year at CCC, these teams placed the same, but Northwood is always, calling them a gatekeeper would be a disservice. If you want a shot at the top teams, you have to take out Northwood. And Oakland is being like, hey, I know you've had this job for a while, but like, I think I could do a great job here. And so if Oakland's able to take this convincingly over Northwood, we might see another change in the hierarchy here in the CECC.
We sure could. Right now, it looks like Anthony kind of down in percent here, struggling a little bit. Back throw is going to do it, not as heavy as Snake, and that probably wasn't the greatest DI angle there, so Copel's going to get us an early stock. Now, again, we're talking about characters that can catch Cloud. K-Roll definitely can as well. I can see, like, neutral air being a problem, or maybe even one of the cannonballs if Anthony's making, like, a weird decision. But either way, Copel's got the first stock here, doing a great job of starting off not only with a lead, but also against their anchor. And that cannonball kind of setting up for what I expected there.
Ooh.
Nearly causing Anthony another stock. He just barely made it out alive.
I don't even want to call any of these scrambles because it's felt like these 2 players have been on top of each other this entire match. Finally, a back air will finish off Copel's first stock, and yet Copel's right back into the fray. Never staying too far away from Cloud, trying to catch them in I mean, what could be generously called slow startup on some of the aerials.
Right, and huge asterisks on that for Cloud. But not speaking of slow startups, Anthony was able to find 71% kind of out of nowhere there with that limit side B. So Copel had a huge lead here, still has one, still in a pretty good spot, but Anthony definitely clawing his way back here.
Ooh, okay, situation at the ledge here. Not able to armor through that at all, and gonna jump right over the cannonball inhale, but talk about a scramble, jumping all around, doing parkour off the crown, but the grab whiffs, and now we see Copel with an opportunity to put Northwood in an early lead.
Yeah, good patience from Anthony, but Copel absolutely cemented his spot here on this lead. Honestly, no matter what happens, being able to take 2 of their potential anchor stocks in the beginning of this is really, really good for Northwood. So Anthony's going to have to dig deep. Copel only at 100, nowhere really near dying. Sands an up smash, and well, there's an up smash. I was just about to say, the only thing he had to watch out for was up smash, and Anthony was like, oh, I know, and just immediately found it.
Copel right here, playing safe, playing a lot in shield, looking for something at this mid-percent, but that grab is going to tear right through the crown. Forward air, going to set up an edge guard situation. Copel going low, Anthony not able to capitalize.
Yeah, ooh, the Nair armor, being able to kind of keep that pressure going and survive you know, what could have been a rough edge guard situation because you're able to just kind of like tank through that back air. That's actually really huge for K-Rool. But that aside, now Copel having himself a slight percent deficit here, definitely still in this, especially if we can see Cloud get forced off stage, which is what's happening here. Limit is here soon, but it doesn't matter. Copel's able to find the dare to up smash and take out Oakland's first player, who happened to be their anchor. That is a huge possible momentum shift for Northwood. So amazing stuff from Copel. It's not that I ever doubted Copel as a player. I was just like, matchup wise, I don't know if you want to start, but able to take that and put Northwood in a really, really good position here, no matter who Oakland decides to send in second.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative flipped on its head 100%. This is the first time we've seen Northwood get a lead, period. And that's a big change if you're coming in against Oakland. Now Oakland, sure, they're up 2 crew battles, but now they've got to find someone who can take back a lead against Copel. Now, we talked about this counterpick arms race that we saw in the previous round. If the pattern would keep itself going, I would think Nad's coming in here. Nad with a lot of ways to close the distance against K-Rool, with a lot of ways to just obliterate those stocks. And I do see Nad on the player tracker right down below. The question is, with Copel doing Copel things, with Copel laying Copel bear traps, are you able to step around them? Are you able to find a way to do this without dropping a stock to put you back on an even scoreline? Because even if you do get to that even scoreline, you've still got to deal with the fact that you're going to get counterpicked.
Right, exactly. You're still going to get counterpicked later, but you were saying like one of the matchups you were afraid to see would be Nad versus Copel. So Nad hopefully going to be able to prove everything right and get everything back to even 9 stocks apiece. Who could say? I loved that up smash read. I was just like, hey, you're going to live for a while, but up smash from Cloud is the main thing you have to be afraid of, and I couldn't even verbalize it before we saw that. Sorry, I'm just looking at the replays here. But yeah, I feel like K-Rool really, really struggles with getting Mario off of him. The best case scenario in those scrambles is definitely going to be that like Nair armor, that belly armor to kind of like get you out of jail. But other than that, if the combos are true, K-Rool kind of just has to like hold that. So who knows? Who knows how this is going to go down exactly?
Yeah, I feel like if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen sub 30%. Or on the stock finisher trying to go for an edge guard. I don't want to see Nad overextend, and we saw that disciplined play, playing around your movement previously. If Nad can get that same momentum going, I would love to see it, as Nad's looking for an immediate opening, and it's not exactly what you're hoping for.
All right, at those low percents, Nair not only able to get Copel out of jail, but able to force Nad off stage here. Percents about even. Both players really, really scrapping right now. I could definitely expect to see some shenanigans with like Cape and the reflect in the belly if we get back to that projectile kind of warfare. But right now, Copel got a ton of momentum here. Already got Nad at just about 100% and still got a while to live here as long as he's able to avoid those big combo starters like those falling up airs. And that looks like that's exactly what he's looking for. Gets the forward air, but isn't able to find the spike hitbox. So Copel gonna live on for another game. Nice.
Uh-oh.
All right.
I take back everything I said about the low percents. Watch out for that down air. I mean, K-Rool really is more than a lot of other characters, the I forgot character. It's like, yeah, you should have known that, but there's so much stuff happening on the mental stack, it's like, oops, I forgot.
Yeah, again, and that's what I'm saying about those niche characters that just don't fight on a regular basis here. All right, able to get the tech chase down there, not nearly enough to kill yet, though. K-Rool very, very heavy here, but Nad just trying to stop the bleeding here, trying to find something, because now Northwood is up 2 stocks here, potentially 3 if Copel's able to find something crazy off stage. And as I say that, the back air almost gave them another stock here. Still a ton of momentum on their side, though. Great tech from that neutral air.
Even when Copel is whiffing moves, it still looks like it's a part of a combo only they understand. Like, like it still feels like it's like, oh yeah, that was to cover, that was a 50-50 that I just came up with right now. As Copel, even at ledge, I still feel like it's about to steal this stock. And as I say it, look, Nad's off stage.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Northwood here. A lot of pressure at the ledge, and that neutral air is going to do it. Tries to at least get the reversal up B, which would have been a super sick play, but nothing really doing there. So now Copel about to potentially 3-stock Nad. Look at this damage. All right, that should do it. No!
No! Okay. You gotta put a little more oomph in there, Nad. as Nat is stuck trying to edge guard Copel, but you're not going to get the ledge trap if you're getting caught by the helicopter like that, having to jump all the way around these projectiles, not even giving them any credence, but enough smash out to shield the scramble. It's not going to go your way. Forward tilt, another opportunity for a ledge trap. Can Nat find anything? No offstage shenanigans for you.
Okay, the down air does it. Copel still being able to tech that back air at 190% was so insane. Yeah, Nad was able to defeat Copel, but loses those 2 stocks, so he's going to have to find something insane to even things back up. Now, taking a look at the board and remembering from the previous game, Nad was facing off against Z and took 2 stocks right off the bat, almost 3. So I think it might be in Northwood's best interest to secure this lead, to not send Z in possibly. They still could, but who knows? I just feel like Nad had some really, really good answers to Z last time. Other than that, though, they've still got Jaja, they've still got Malachite, they've still got Frostbite. I want to see Frostbite play just as a Frostbite fan. But who knows? But either way, Nad is going to have to play extremely cautiously going into this to try to stop the bleeding on this lead here, because it is now 9 stocks to 7. That being said, though, Nat does tend to play pretty defensively from what it looks like. Doesn't mind just being patient and kind of like waiting his opponent out, kind of running circles around them a little bit to try to like generate a little bit of frustration. So I could definitely see Nat still doing this, but Northwood is in a really strong spot. And again, they are not going to be able to close this out with Anthony. Probably going to have to close it out with Avian again, which worked pretty well last time, but who knows? We're just going to have to see how this goes down.
Yeah, we will. Jaja was the counter pick in the last crew battle against Nad, and I wouldn't hate to see it again, because, like, while I don't feel like Kirby wins neutral against Mario, I feel like Kirby will not have stocks deleted against Mario, and that's the crucial thing. Yeah, you turn it from yeah, I'm sending in Frostbite. Frostbite has a winning matchup, but if Mario gets one up air at the wrong place, you're dead. Whereas Jaja, I feel like, has a lot more leeway, a lot more defensive play that Kirby can do that Jaja is a master of. So I would not hate to see Jaja come out again to try to cement this lead. I mean, with Copel taking 5 stocks out the gate, I mean, that's the most stocks we've seen anyone take, which, like, isn't that many, but it's still too much. But Frostbite is going to be the pick coming out for the first time. I feel like Frostbite almost never comes out in the first crew battle, but when he does in the second crew battle, it does work. So we'll see how this pick goes out here against the Mario.
Yeah, Frostbite is just one of those players where, like, if that momentum is going on his side, you can just we've both seen it multiple times, just going on these crazy 5, 6, 7 stock runs, just decimating entire teams. So definitely going to be a tough battle here for Nad, but maybe he can find something, you know, a little bit janky at the ledge and kind of like force Roy off stage. His recovery is a little lackluster, and I could see Cape and Flood being a pretty big problem for Roy. He definitely needs as much horizontal momentum as he can muster to make it back there. But either way, yeah, I'm excited to see Frostbite come in here. I think he's really, really strong. Nad is just going to have to be very, very cautious, especially in the corners, because that side be anywhere around like 60, 70. You make the wrong move, and Roy is just stealing that stock right out of your hands.
100%. So we'll see where Roy is going to land here. I feel like if Nad is even able to get 1 stock off of Frostbite, they'll still be at a deficit, but it'll be a much more comfortable deficit. It'll be as if you had just, you know, gone 3 stock to 3 stock to 3 stock to 3 stock. And yes, Frostbite will get counterpicked, and it'll probably be a little bit brutal, but I feel like Oakland getting the edge here is, it needs to happen in the mid game. They're won by playing from ahead. You cannot let them we haven't seen clutch plays from Oakland like we have Northwood, so we've got to see it here and now.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big turnaround too, and because Northwood has the winning set record overall against Oakland, it's one of those things where it's like, we can't let this happen twice. You know, we got to remember how we've gotten to the position we've gotten to, so who knows how this is going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at crew battles, these 2 games that Oakland has over Northwood, I'm fairly certain are the most crew battles they've ever won against Northwood. I think with their 2-1 over them, that's the most points they've ever taken from Northwood. That's crazy. So now you've got to make that count. If you're going to be the better team this weekend, you've got to stay the better team this weekend, especially when Northwood, I mean, this is the equivalent of them being down 2 stocks. Oakland was able to close that before. Can they do it now?
Yeah, we're going to have to see in just a moment here. Frostbite already down so much percent. But as I say it, Nad having to make that tech chase scenario against a Rage Roy, even at center stage, still kind of scary here. But Nad definitely doing a great job here putting on this damage on this first stock. We just need to see if he can close it out because we're getting into those real dicey percents right now, especially at 74, where Roy is so scary. But I think that back throw should give Oakland the stock, putting a little bit of a stop on the bleeding there. Now only 8 stocks to 7.
And this is pretty big from Nad. Again, one reversal is all you need. If you even have an opportunity to trade stocks, do it. As a just going for an up throw, trying to extend on the platform, but great DI from Frostbite to avoid any real follow-ups there besides the nair. And just jab after jab. Oh.
Yeah, the pressure was just a little bit too much to bear. You see Roy, and you're just like, Roy players only want one thing, and it's disgusting. You see him trying to respect that side B spacing, but also that jab. But jab is just such a good move to just throw out. I mean, it's so scary having a kill confirm being that fast. And sure, getting the Jair is like a little bit challenging sometimes, but a player like Frostbite definitely has it. But all that aside, Nad was able to take 1 stock. We're now 8 stocks to 6 for the Oakland team. If you're just tuning in, Oakland is up 2 games in our best of 5 because they already had one of the winner sides. So if one of the Oakland players is able to kind of close his gap a little bit, we could see the entire finals ending in just another 8 stocks. Or what I think might be more likely to happen is Northwood still going to hold strong and hold steady and still really make Oakland fight for this dub.
Yeah, this is I don't think it's like a go next for sure yet, but it's going to be tough. You need someone to come out and be clutch. And the first part is to counterpick Frostbite with someone who's not going to be taken down that easily. I mean, you're the aficionado on the Roy matchups. Who are you feeling like you would hate to see come out against Frostbite?
You know, I think what will be an interesting pick to come out against Frostbite, I actually think Trisket. I feel like Pac-Man Roy would be pretty tough. Like, Roy, all things said and done, does have to respect Hydrant, does still die pretty early to Bell or F-Smash, or Bell and F-Smash and all those things. It looks like, is that Poison Jam coming in?
On the Kazuya.
The Kazuya. Ooh, now that's a good pick, too. I've seen a lot of Roy players. I've seen Cola get really frustrated from Kazuya, and the number one reason that matchup is such a problem is that Kazuya and Roy have to fight from the same ranges, but what Kazuya gets off of being correct is a stock. Kazuya gets a whole stock off being correct in the exact same range that Roy can only fight him up close. Roy doesn't have a projectile. Roy doesn't have a plan B. And with all the invulnerability from Electric, it can get really tough for Roy here. So I definitely think Poison Jam was a very, very smart decision for the Oakland team.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out here as Frostbite playing around this ledge, looking for a falling aerial somewhere, but that's a grab. Poison Jam, it's on you to convert it, but great DI away from the platform. Frostbite avoiding these early percent tech chases.
Yeah, definitely knew very well that those tech chases are scary, and that was the opportunity. Didn't pull the trigger, but still gets a tech chase command grab, which is still plenty of damage. Frostbite really started to bleed out here, 92%. He has to space so very carefully. So far, he's doing a pretty good job of catching Poison Jam off guard with these forward airs and these nairs. But, man, the risk reward in this matchup is awful. And as I say that, Frostbite getting the counter, going to take a really early stock from Poison Jam.
Oh, man, goes down low, but Poison Jam able to hold on.
Nice.
Right here, an up smash just raw out the gate is going to take out Frostbite. And now you've got the same position we had before. How do you find this opening as Roy when, again, Kazuya just gets so much more?
Even off a grab, like the combo didn't go exactly the way Poison Jam wanted, but it's still such a huge threat. I like that, ending that with the sour spot F smash. My friends call that the pool noodle. Just getting a little bit of extra damage there. Yeah, Frostbite's definitely playing this well, but as I say it, the first electric comes through. The first tech happens. I think Poison Jam was a little bit off on the timing, trying to find that while standing jab. Still got another chance here for Frostbite. The side B not going to have too much knockback, but still great damage. Oh, this could be it. Oh my gosh, this is starting to become such a nail biter.
Okay, that was terrifying. Rage Drive online, but no chance to use it. Poison Jam's off the side of the stage, and right here, Oakland is... they're putting... if I'm being completely honest with you, Sai, in past years, this is what Oakland versus Northwood has looked like. And if I hadn't just seen Oakland pretty solidly win over Northwood, I would have been like, well, you know how it is. But right here, it's a little bit sad to see.
Yeah, it definitely is here. It looks like this is probably going to be it for Poison Jam, and unfortunately, he SDs, and now Oakland has to make such a huge comeback here. 3 stocks to 7 for the Northwood team. That is rough. That is really, really, really rough. So I'm not sure what exactly Oakland's best chance of bringing this back would be. I would say probably Avian if I had to guess. Not that I don't think Spectral is also a really talented player, but Lucina's not like a huge, crazy comeback character. It's going to take kind of a miracle, even for Min, who's good in these scenarios, to take all these stocks off of the Northwood team. But who's to say how this is going to go down?
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss as well. We can't discount Rob, but even at the same time, it's like Rob will... You called it that Snake is great at holding a lead. You don't have a lead. Mm-hmm. You cannot play from a lead. And so the second that Oakland goes down from like a trying to play optimally standpoint, it kind of feels like Rob is going to be who gets put on the bench. As soon as Oakland goes down in stocks, it's like, well, can't use Rob anymore. So who do we got next?
It looks like we are going to be seeing Trisket the Pac-Man coming in after all, which, again, solid character against Roy, but having to make a 3-stock comeback, not so much. Trisket's going to have to not only take this stock without losing any, but then go on like a crazy run on their next player, who, frankly, is probably going to be Jaja, and they still also have So Good Pop, and they still have Z. So this is definitely looking like Northwood's game here. I think that counter on the Kazi recovery was so very smart. I actually haven't seen anybody do that with Roy, and that just kind of recontextualized the matchup. I was like, I didn't think Roy had any like huge matchup-specific plays here, but that was a grim reminder that I was very incorrect.
Yeah, now we see the counter pick you called out earlier. It's going to be Trisket looking for an opportunity to make Frostbite uncomfortable, as like you said, has to respect that hydrant. I feel like Trisket can take up a lot of space that Roy usually likes to dance around in. If you're fishing for too many aerials out in the middle of nowhere, you might find yourself connecting with a projectile and not a player. So we'll see how Trisket is able to navigate, not just putting up this net, but when Frostbite gets caught in it, capitalizing and taking that 1 stock remaining, because you want to preserve it all for whoever these 2 other players on Northwood are.
Yeah, and if I'm being real here from the Oakland team, I think sending Anthony in first was like a big gamble, but if it doesn't play off, then you really, really got to counterpick extra careful for the entire rest of the battle. And now we've got a Pac-Man that has to take so many stocks, and against very weird, slow matchups that Pac-Man doesn't even necessarily like excel in. Even Roy is like pretty decent for Pac-Man, but he can definitely get himself overwhelmed if he's not careful. But start things off with an apple a day. Jesus Christ. Trisket with 48 off the gate. Wow.
Jump called off out ledge, and is that just a gimp? No, not quite, but Frostbite is looking pretty desperate to just get a little bit of green under their feet.
Listen, there's a reason I was saying that Trisket is a huge threat here on these teams, and he just showed us all real quick why he's going to end up being the anchor right now. Definitely off to a strong start. A little bit of struggling here, trying to find a way to like secure this kill. Hasn't really had any time to breathe and necessarily get Bell set up, and almost dying from that F smash, because at max rage, I actually think that might have done it.
I think it would have. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Roy does some criminal stuff when you're not looking. As Trisket just looking for some comfort right here. Dodges the bell, hit by the hydrant, and now here on ledge, it's just going to be a back air to finish them off. Trisket, 3 stocks remaining, 6 stocks on the Northwood side. It's not pretty, but there's a chance. But even so, Oakland might be looking towards the next round, but you never know. If Oakland just does, if Trisket just does what Frostbite and Copel did, then you win. Problem is you're going up against Jaja. You're going up against So Good Pop. You're going up against so many people who have two opportunities to counterpick you on both stage and character. That's not going to be pretty.
Right. And even though that was such an incredible, explosive start from Trisket right there, the next two characters don't have to rush you down. Like it said go, and then unfortunately for Frostbite, he ran into that apple, which led to 68%, which again is crazy because the match had just started. But Kirby doesn't necessarily have to like approach at those speeds, and neither does Wii Fit Trainer. Not sure between So Good and Jaja who the next person they're going to send in is going to be. It looks like we're going to be seeing Jaja come in next. So, yeah, again, I think Trisket just played incredible right there for just that one stock for sure, and we need to see that momentum roll in. But Jaja's going to really, really slow down the pace and just kind of like smother you out just to kind of give Norwood this next game. That's my next prediction.
Alrighty, so Jaja on the sticks. Kirby, once again, turns basically any game from... even if you're a combo-centric person, into a neutral-centric person. And, I mean, Trisket is not the worst person to go up in a neutral encounter against Kirby, but I feel like Jaja has so much matchup awareness in everything. Being, by far, being one of the best, arguably the best in North America on your character, puts a lot of situations that people might think they've got the upper hand on you. You're like, well, actually, I know exactly how to get out of that because I've seen it from 24 people just last week. We'll see how Jaja navigates this. Trisket looking to win with at least 2 stocks, but even if they do, it's still going to be tough for Oakland.
All right, I like that too. Going to FD. Kirby drinks water and heals. Today I learned. Going to FD. Gonna make it even more awkward. Gonna kind of force Pac-Man to scrap a little bit. But Jaja, I know we talk about his defensive play a lot. He doesn't mind going in there and like racking up those crazy damage with those Kirby combos. So either way, things starting off really, really strong here. I thought we were gonna see a jab lock F smash, but it's not even needed. 94%. Being able to beat the super pellet, which was also crazy. I really didn't see that coming. Things starting off real strong for Jaja.
I almost never see anyone confident enough to edgeguard super pellet. In my experience, it's like, well, Pac-Man just recovers for free. Jaja doesn't subscribe to that frame of mind, as only 13% on Jaja is looking to end this second crew battle here and now.
Yeah, Kirby of all characters beating that move out. I would not have guessed in 100 guesses, but either way, Trisket really hasn't gotten anything started yet. Only got like 2 straight hits so far. Jaja's doing an amazing job of navigating around not only the fruit, but also the hydrant angles, and just really throwing Trisket off of this game here. Oh, and Kirby's got fruit. That's bad.
It's not great. Really if anyone's lobbed these combos, it is Jaja, as is looking for an opportunity. Slow grab in the game, it's not going to do you much good if you're facing the wrong way. Jaja looking for some careful play, just clashing with a lot of these fruits in the air, not looking to take any chip damage, but Trisket with an opportunity for an edge guard here, but not yet having any time to set up a hydrant, not any time to set up any sort of fruits. You've just got to power through it.
Yeah, just got to force something here. Oh, gave it away. I'm going to say thank you, Jaja, because Kirby with the Pac-Man skin was very, very ugly. So I'm happy we at least see Kirby's normal face again because those eyebrows were not hit. Go ahead and get those touched up. But Trisket being able to tech that from the bottom of the stage, trying to find some way to gimp Jaja. Red trampoline on deck here. Both players got to be extra careful not to go into that free fall.
Gone now. Key off the table as well. Looking for something off of this hydrant, and it will put Jaja off stage. Time to charge up a bell. Time to maybe get some more action going. What are you doing there, friend?
Just practicing the Naruto run, you know.
Yeah.
Got to sink that cardio in, I guess, here. But, yeah, definitely going to be a slower pace match, and that is not what Trisket wants. He wants to take a whole bunch of momentum and just try to, like, force the other team to panic. But that's just not the player that Jaja is here. So, Jaja almost finding the second stock, and the second neutral air will do it. Using the hydrant against Trisket now, 1 stock to 6 for Oakland. This looks pretty sealed up for Northwood in this round, too.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, you've got to start asking yourself, okay, where did we go wrong? I mean, obviously, Copel going on a rampage. When you're countering your counter pick, that is not a good look. Oakland obviously had a plan for every Northwood player. It worked last night. It wasn't working too hot this time. So now that your plan has been countered, now that Nad isn't the go-to person to take down someone like Kopel, where do you go now? Who do you find? I wouldn't hate to see Rob come out first again. A lot of different variations, but right here, as Trisket once again is struggling to get this recovery back on, Jaja just won't die. Like, Jaja is playing Kirby like a heavy.
Yeah, this is El Diablo, just not able to take these stocks. And again, as soon as Jaja's able to disengage, wow,
What?
I cannot believe that worked out for Jaja. I was going to say he just kind of disengages and just makes Trisket panic a little bit, but being able to dash attack through both Bell and Hydrant and kill him was crazy.
And there was
do
a
not believe
forward
what I just saw.
smash.
Yeah.
There was a forward smash being charged too. Like, you know those, like, wipeout walls where it's, like, the shape of a person and you have to, like, jump perfectly through it?
Yeah.
Like that's what Trisket basically set up, and Jaja just looped right on through it. It's going to be Northwood putting a point on the board in terms of crew battles with a dominant 5-stock lead at the end right there. Nothing to scoff at whatsoever, and that is going to be tough. I do think we are going to go for the briefest little break as both teams get their little bio break in, and then we're back at it. These teams are at each other's throats. They're not letting up anytime soon, so stick around. We will be right back. We are back, everybody, with the CECC Midwest Regional Finals. It's between Northwood and Oakland, and right now, Northwood, the long reigning champion in the Midwest, is down a crew battle. But after a dominant crew battle in the last one, they've got a point on the board, and it's looking like Oakland has to do anything to stop this momentum that Northwood is building.
Yeah, I mean, they had such a strong start coming in here, not only already up a game from winning in the winner's side, but also being able to beat their bracket demon and get us at a 2-0 position was really, really strong for Oakland. I think they got a little bit overconfident, and Northwood reminded them quickly, like, hey, we're also in grands for a reason here. I mean, a dominating 5-stock performance right after. Just such an incredible response from them. So Oakland definitely got to be careful. Looks like we're going to be getting into the next game here in just a second, though. We've got Rob going to be starting us off from the Oakland team, and Copel is once again starting off for Northwood. Still, Oakland just one game away from winning out today and getting that first seed at the CECC Texas next year. But let's see if Northwood can claw that back from them.
Ooh. I mean, Copel not even blinking before stacking on 80%. Usually when you see Snake trading, like for every 1% you take, the 2% on the other person, Copel is flipping the script on that one.
Yeah, he's doing such a great job as an opener too. Had a little bit of a struggle on that first game, but still was able to take 2 stocks either way. But game 2 really set the pacing well for Northwood, and it looks like so far kind of keeping that momentum up. Got a pretty solid percent lead against Rob, not overcommitting, just keeping that pressure going with those cannonballs, and really responding well to Rob's platform pressure. Barely missing that kill confirm, but Copel's still playing fantastic.
Rob runs in with the jab, not able to find the stock finisher, but after a dominant start from Copel, looking like a bit of stabilization from Rob. You love to see it. Oakland looking to get an early lead once again. Rob might just be the person to do it. When these two fought last, it was Rob who got the edge in the end. If you remember, Rob went up 3 stocks to 1. And then, you know, Copel did Copel things. It's not looking like we're going to see the exact same narrative this time.
Yeah, Copel's definitely still got a pretty solid lead here, 116. But, as I say it, forced to recover against Nikita, and man, she makes fools of all of us. And as to be expected, Rob able to take that stock real easy. It's one of those things where it's like Copel is so good at piloting this character. But that specific scenario against Snake is just, it feels nearly impossible, even just near the mid-level, let alone the high and top level.
Yeah, like, Rob is trying to put Copel in situations where even if Copel does everything right, Rob is still in advantage. That's what Snake does best. Even when you're doing all the proper counterplay, Copel is still winning out. Or Rob is still winning out, rather. And so with Rob trying to find more of those situations, Copel is going to try to put a wedge in a lot of Copel's Rob's plans.
Yeah, he's definitely throwing him off. Like, being able to kind of counter zone him camping with grenade is really important. Like, the crown is doing a lot of work for him, as well as the cannonball. And unfortunately, shades of game 1. This time, Copel does get the stage spike, but accidentally buffers an air dodge and unfortunately throws that stock away. Percent wasn't too high, but I take all that back because now we're only 33% separated here, and Copel just about even that back up right off that blunderbuss.
I mean, I hate to say it, but this could be where it's decided here and now. If Copel is allowed to make it past the first game, it's usually not a good thing. If Rob's able to stop the momentum here, sure, Northwood's still got a horse in the race, but Oakland is in their same win condition that they had before.
Right, yeah, 1 stock apiece. Really even stuff here. Percent's just about even. That grenade not going to set Copel up for the best scenario, and a great down air to add on so much free damage there for Rob is one of those things where, like, even though Snake's lead isn't huge, it is still, even with just a 30% deficit, it's still hard to take a lead back from Snake. So Copel has to maneuver really carefully. And that's easier said than done because these grenades are huge for a character that is as big as K-Rool.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like the London Blitz out here. Like, every single second there's a different explosion from a Nikita, from a C4, and yet it doesn't matter. Copel threads the needle, which is a quite impressive feat for a king like that. And Copel takes the lead once again. This is exactly what happened in the last one.
Yeah, finding that reverse hit, too, definitely caught Rob off guard. So, Copel finally able to take the first game off of Rob here today. So now, once again, Northwood at a little bit of a lead here. There's going to be 10-9, and it's going to really come down to who they're going to counterpick with here. And they have some pretty solid options. We haven't seen Spectral come in yet, but I feel like Lucina's probably pretty decent against K-Rule. I actually think Avian would be a really strong option against K-Rule specifically, but you might want to kind of save Avian for a little later. You probably want to, if I had to guess, save Avian for So Good Pop just because that matchup just is so awful. So I wouldn't send Anthony in just yet. You definitely want to keep him around. I'm going to vote Trisket. Nad had it last time and did all right, but I definitely think that Copel was able to extend Northwood's lead there because he was able to steal some stocks off of him. So I think Trisket might be the play.
Yeah, I mean, last game felt like a complete reversal. It felt like Oakland didn't really have a plan, not like they did in the first crew battle. Now, it's clear Northwood is adapting to their plan. It's clear Nad isn't probably going to be the counter pick. But who comes out now is very important. I'm thinking that you don't want Anthony. You want Anthony isn't cool as a counter pick. So I agree with you on the Min. I'm thinking Avian could be a strong answer. There isn't anyone here that I'm like, oh, Avian is the only person who can deal with this character. I think only So Good Pop is the big one. As long as Avian isn't on the board, you can't really send in So Good Pop if you want to maintain a lead. So that could be big.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's down to Oakland right now. Clearly a lot of thought coming in because they were a lot quicker on the character picks last time. Now they've got to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, and this is one of those things, too. Like, when you start beating your bracket demons, you know, you're really happy to do it, but then that existential dread kind of sets in like, oh, man, we've been in this scenario so many times, and it's been so tough, and you've, like, felt that momentum kind of, like, just staying on their favor. So you definitely want to be really cautious on who you're picking, and it looks like they're really, really thinking it over. I couldn't tell you who it's going to be. I still think Trisket's the best guess, Nat the second, but it looks like we are going to see Nat, so Nat's going to come in and get a run back. And honestly, we just saw Copel win his run back against Rob, so maybe they're hoping they can do the same thing. Who knows? But we are going to be getting Mario versus K-Rule again. Very, very easy to combo him. But at those low percents, you got to be careful. I think a big thing that we saw was that Copel racked up some damage, right? And then once he got up aired by Mario at those low percents, just nared out and then used all that momentum to – not only did you counter hit Mario, but you took his jump away to rack up a whole bunch of extra damage, and then it got even harder for him to actually combo K-Rule. So he's just going to have to be really careful with the low percents or even just outright start calling out neutral at a disadvantage because that's the main thing that Copel's going to have to take more of a lead against Nad here.
Yeah, that decisive play at low percents. Got to keep your eye on that because, I mean, Copel has a confirm for every percent. We know that. We've seen it. We've probably seen like half a dozen of them today. So if you find yourself sitting under a platform thinking you're safe, sitting on a platform thinking you're safe, on the ledge thinking you're safe, you're usually not, and Nad's got to play like that.
Exactly. Also, shout outs to Copel. I just realized the tag says Black Flash. I'm a huge JJK fan, wearing a Megan Gojo shirt right now, actually. So, big props for that right off rip. And speaking of right off rip, tries to just immediately take that stock with that back air. Excellent idea from Copel, just trying to make sure he secures that lead. Nat, of course, coming in with 3 full fresh stocks here and playing it a little bit more cautiously for sure. Kind of just dancing around the shield with those up airs, and now starting to respond a lot better to the up airs at a disadvantage. That is 0 for 3 on finding the fares there, but still got a lot of momentum. And Nat, unfortunately, SD's there.
There was no hit. Nad tried to tech the counter and just didn't get hit by it, and so they went into an air dodge. How unfortunate.
Really unfortunate.
And yeah, now Nad has to play from behind. Can't let that get to you too much. As Copel is sitting there like, please let that get to you.
Right. Right.
The more tilted you get, the stronger I get. Like, you know.
Exactly. And it's again, this is your bracket demon, so it's tougher and tougher to keep your mentality in a good space here. But either way, all that aside, Nad's only taken like a combined maybe 70-ish% here. But as I said, Kopel starting to troll a little bit, trying to sneak in these back airs, just really trying to force in yet another stock. Already taken 4 stocks for the Northwood team, so no matter what happens from here, already done a great job in this round 3 of the game. But let's see if Nad can actually clutch this out. 194 on Kopel, and if he's... Ooh, the crown. Okay, nice. Great work from Nad.
Yeah, I like that because Nad fast fell and then threw the crown up, catching any sort of jump shenanigans, any sort of jumping aerial shenanigans that you could have been seeing come out. I think it was a great cover all, especially when Kopel just left it on the stage like that. Obviously, hurts a lot that Nad ended up losing that one stock in such a heartbreaking way. But Nad clearly didn't let it get to them, stayed composed, and now Oakland is not out of it yet. Has a much better chance as than the last crew battle, but it's still going to be difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Only down the 1. Nad still played it pretty well, but that was just a weird scenario because he caped a Kopel off stage, and I saw like this huge animation. It looked like something was being affected by hit stop, but yeah, he successfully got the cape, but just panicked a little bit, thinking the K roll maybe have like a reverse hit on that counter, which, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by any hitbox in Smash Ultimate at this point. We've all seen horrible things at this point. But yeah, just kind of freaked out there. Yeah, let's look at this again. Oh, that's why he, okay. So when he got the cape, you see the K roll was facing him when the counter activated, but then he turned away. So it really did look like he was going to get hit. I think all of us would have gotten confused in that moment. So, you know, either way, hopefully not too much loss there because he was only down the 1 stock. So now currently we have ourselves an 8 to 9 stock game here. Oakland versus Northwood. Oakland on tournament point here for the qualifiers, and Northwood still got 2 more full rounds to win if they want that first seed.
And once again, Frostbite coming out. When we saw Frostbite as the counter pick for Nad last time, Nad was able to steal a stock away despite only having 1 of his own. I mean, with 2 stocks on the board, Nad is still a major threat here. Does not feel like a hard counter pick so much as some of the other matchups have been. As right now, Nad is following Frostbite, hiding on his back.
Oh yeah, so much momentum. And this is bad. 1, 2, great DI from Frostbite to stay away from that. The ladder was so imminent right there, but good presence of mind, knowing where to be. Almost overextended a little bit on that edge guard, but clawed back a lot of damage from Nad and definitely slowed him down.
Scuffed little wave land on a stage right there, and Nad is still laying on the pressure. Tech chase situation, but no jab lock, not quite, as Frostbite is able to catch the landing. Fast fall air dodge not going to help you much there, as Nad is struggling to get any sort of landing here. But again, with how safe all of Mario aerials are on landing, it is intense trying to punish anything out of shield.
It really is here. So, Nad kind of gambling it all, trying to find that up smash. Just wants to put this lead back there, and that could have been the opportunity, but went for a down smash instead. And now Frostbite is on the precipice of throwing this lead even further for Northwood. Nice.
Up tilt gonna be the finisher. Yeah, and landing back air unpunished. I mean, I'm saying that is a good thing. If you're trying to swing it every single time Mario aerials your shield, you're going to be fighting a lot more ghosts than Roy regularly does.
Right.
As jab into side B, what a confirm. As now with that offstage forward air, Frostbite drops the hammer on Nad. This is looking like a rehash of game 2 side. I think we're going to a 5th crew battle.
I think we're going to see a game 5 as well. This is definitely looking really tough for Oakland there. That fair kill really early, but again, you give Roy some rage, he will give you a stock back. I mean, it feels like hitting Roy is just an investment at this point for Roy. You know, he's almost like Sword Lucario at this point. Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
6 stocks to 7 Northwood Oakland here.
9 stocks to 6.
9 stocks to 6. Sorry, excuse me. I misspoke entirely. That's a tough one. So now Oakland kind of forced to choose here. You still got Anthony. You still got Avian. You still got Trisket and Spectral too. But either way, it's definitely going to be a tough one for them to be able to make this comeback. You need to do something insane.
I feel like it's Trisket. It's got to be Trisket. We saw them try to send out Poison Jam for what should on paper be a great matchup, but Poison Jam was just getting looped around, not hitting as many check chases, in part due to Frostbite's amazing defensive play. We see this sort of ambiguous DI from Frostbite a lot to escape what should otherwise be a completely consistent combo, and already I'm a little bit worried. If you took a screenshot of what things looked like last game, this is more or less the exact same thing, except Oakland has like a few more stocks. Oakland is pure and complete running it back from the second crew battle, with the exception of Rob being in instead of Anthony, so hopefully you're laying it on the anchor. But right now, this is looking a little dicey for them. Let's see if Poison Jam is able to change the narrative at all from what happened last time.
Yeah, we need to see a really, really big momentum shift here from Poison Jam overall, because that last run between the two of these players just really didn't go great. Things already starting off pretty solid for Frostbite. Oh, what happened? Frostbite with the 0 to death, barely 12 seconds off the clock, and Poison Jam just getting ran all over here. Oh, okay.
Sai! I took a sip of water. What's happening? What did you do to the game?
What did I do? Listen, 2 people died, and it's just now been 30 seconds. I think Poison Jam SD'd, and then randomly, a Kazuya up air of all things took Frostbite stock. All right, we've got an Electric, not finding the Nair drag downs that we needed. We really needed Kazuya to be able to take that stock here. 5 stocks to 8, Northwood to Oakland here. Poison Jam already at 70%, not looking too good for them on this final game, or potentially second to final game here for Oakland.
Yeah, Rage online, but with that jab, side B popping them up, looking for a juggle situation, but Poison Jam's going to find their way back to the ground. People at this point know that once Kazuya's in the air, sure, he's got some scary tools, but it's a lot less scary than when he's on the ground, fishing for this electric Wind God Fist. Side B going to catch the landing, and that's going to be another stock off the board from Poison Jam.
Wow, yeah, this is just kind of looking sealed up once again for Northwood. Honestly, even bigger lead that we saw than last time. 8 stocks to 4. That's such a huge amount of stocks you have to take here. Poison Jam not with any room for error left here, and potentially gonna go down yet again. 72 on the last stock, and the Jeff Smash is definitely gonna do it. And now Oakland has one final player that has to come in and beat pretty much the entire Northwood roster if they want to stop the bleeding, because otherwise we are going to be getting that Game 5 in these Midwest Finals.
You know, like, I feel like it was better last time. Like I feel like Trisket had a better matchup, but with less stocks being taken, Anthony wasn't on the board. I wouldn't hate to see Anthony come out here. I feel like if you're going to bet it all on someone, I'd rather bet it on Cloud than Pac-Man.
For sure.
Especially because Jeja is definitely not as much of an answer for Cloud as it seemed to be for Trisket. But it's tough. It's tough, Sai. Like we can sit here and spin our yarn all day, but what are we really going to say that's anything short of a miracle is going to save Oakland?
Yeah, like genuinely a miracle. Like, because this is, not only is his lead already bad, it's looking worse than the previous game where it was just like, okay, they're like a little down, and eventually it kind of snowballed, but this is just a crazy amount of momentum. I mean, Frostbite still has 2 stocks, and even the 1 stock he lost was seemingly kind of accidental there, just from that up air under the lip of the stage. So this is definitely Northwood's game. I do not imagine that Oakland could potentially bring this back, but hopefully when we get to the Game 5 reset, we see some really, really careful counterpicking, because I definitely think matchup to matchup, Northwood has made the right call seemingly the entire day.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I don't know what that was over there. He definitely could have recovered. I don't know if he just air dodged or something. That's what it was. Yeah, it was that like weird little, I think he was just upping back to the stage and just killed him because he didn't know he was going to get stage fright there.
I mean,
okay?
It's the classic question of, if you have a plan, you've practiced a plan, you've practiced your counter picks, and then they're not going well, do you stick to that plan?
No.
Or do you vary?
You vary.
Like, I feel like they had one game to stick to their plan, and that's what they've done this game. It's not working. We need to see some big shift coming out of Oakland, because even though you just need to execute a little bit better, I don't know if that's going to happen in the span of one crew battle at this point, especially not when Northwood is playing like this.
Yeah, and Frostbite's super come alive here later in the set. Like you said, you might not always see him in the very beginning, but once we get towards the middle and the end of it, he really, really just kind of like takes his power back. And right now, even with such an explosive start to this, especially considering how commanding it was last time when Trisket played him, this is just looking like we could see, like, I imagine this is going to be at least 6 stocks for Northwood to win this. Like, I think Frostbite wins this right now.
You know, sometimes I forget just, like, random Pac-Man projectiles do, like, 19%. I know this is all the Frostbite show, but, like, man. Trisket is getting the chip damage where it counts, but it's chip damage and chip damage alone. Even when Frostbite isn't comboing Trisket, they're still getting confirmed, still getting tech chases, still getting advantage, crucially, through it all, and is able to get a stock advantage, putting them on even footing here. Only 2 stocks remaining on Oakland before Northwood gets the match point.
Yeah, this is looking really tough. 8 stocks to 2 here. Frostbite only at 92% as well. Avoiding the grabs for sure. Definitely starting to outmaneuver Pac-Man. And I thought we were going to see like a suicide up B right there just to finish that stock off from Roy for just a moment. But yeah, I mean, all of the momentum you could ever ask for is coming out of the Northwood side. And again, psychologically, this has to be so tough for the Oakland team.
Yeah, this is mighty difficult right here, as Trisket, an amazing player in their own right, but again, I feel like in the 1v1 matchups, Northwood has just had the edge using these counter picks. I mean, Northwood is used to playing from ahead. It's just what they do. It's what happens when you're a top tier team like Northwood. So now, when you're back ahead, you're back to playing against these counter picks. It's looking so dire as Pac-Man. Trisket gonna get back to the ledge, gonna get a tech chase, but Frostbite's ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Frostbite is using Trisket's tools against him really well, too. Super Pellet going to give him a kind of a niche way back to the stage. I like that, using Trampoline to the Hydrant to at least try to force Frostbite off that stock, but it's still not happening, 172%. And if Frostbite finds any jab or a side B, that'll do it. But the Apple going to come in. Shout out to Charlie XCX. And now Frostbite, just 1 stock left here, but still a crazy amount of work for the Oakland team.
All right, catches them in the grab. Jay are gonna take it, and I mean, see, I want to talk about what's happening next crew battle, and I know Oakland kind of wants to too, but Trisket is like, I appreciate that we're not seeing any just like, okay, GG's go next. I saw that a little bit in the off-stream games, like sometimes someone would be in an unwinnable place, but no, Trisket's like, no, I am going to take every opportunity to show you that I am a threat, that you need to respect me. Because otherwise, you're going to get caught like that. I mean, come on. I can't wait to see a replay of that.
Yeah, that was crazy. They're like, okay, look, we might have lost, but I didn't lose. Like, we're going to go back and see that clip for sure. That was wild from Trisket, but yeah, 1 stock to 6. So technically, if Trisket can do that just 6 more times in a row, then Oakland can still do this in a 3-1. But other than that, it's looking pretty much decided for Northwood, I'd have to say, unfortunately. Still, definitely kept some momentum there. Definitely got keeping the fight alive and still showing us that he's got some crazy shenanigans. Like, that sending the wrong way was just crazy. It's like, dang, he is really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, I do love the fact that, I say it often, but the most important quality a zoner can have is being able to demonstrate that if you do get past the zoning, that you're in for a major combo. Because otherwise, no one has to give any respect to your chip damage. No one has to give any respect to when you pull out a combo fruit. Because it's like, oh, well, I mean, if I get hit, I take 30%. No, Trisket will kill you. Trisket will just end you.
Yeah, that was just 60 out of nowhere. And the F smash read to the ledge was just super smart stuff. Using the cherry to kind of like bait you to like getting off stage right there, or forcing, you know, a panic option back to the stage. And Trisket definitely had the great presence of mind here. But now this is just, this is an impossible comeback. Like, just straight up. I will eat this microphone if Trisket takes 6 stocks here against Jaja, and So Good Pop with only 1 stock to spare.
Yeah, I mean, We talked about previously that the last crew battle, the one where Northwood won, where the Northwood started winning, was the first time that Northwood had a lead. I think it comes down to this opening matchup. You've got to shut down Copel, as Copel has been the opener 3 times in a row. Now, as I say that out loud and both teams are listening, maybe that won't be the case again, but you have to shut down this opener. Doesn't matter if you lose some stocks, you have to end it. You have to get this early lead. You have to be playing from counterpick advantage because that's what you built your plan around. Clearly your plan for if you lose the first round isn't going your way.
And speaking of plans, it looks like we're now going to see Malachite for the first time coming out of the Northwood team, which is pretty dope. I've been following Malachite for a long time, and I've always seen really, really cool snake clips from them. So excited to see them come into this year. But, of course, they only have to take the 1 stock. In the worst possible case scenario, of course, they're still going to have either Jaja or So Good as their anchor, most likely Jaja. But either way, we're going to be cutting into this for a moment. I think for the Oakland team, you're going to have to really just think about who's been doing the best in these crew battles and kind of just, like, rotate your players based on that versus, like, the matchup specifically. Because they do a lot of matchup counterpicking, which is the goal, but sometimes you got to get in there and just, like, skill diff somebody, you know? And they started off so strong. I mean, Anthony did amazing. We saw Avian do fantastic, you know? But you just got to be really cautious on I think it's coming down to the wire, and it's going to matter way more about the player versus, like, the character matchups, because everybody on the Northwood team just seems really, really threatening for sure. So you're just going to have to you just got to start skill diffing. I don't know how else to put it.
Yep. And we're talking about, like, if your plan is working. Like right now, Oakland has not shown that they have a counterpick for this current thing. And conventional wisdom is that if something's working, don't change it. And right now, Oakland doesn't have a strong answer to Copel as the opener. But what if they do?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Honestly, my prediction next time, start with Avian. If you are committed to, and I know both teams are probably listening, but if you're committed to having Copel as your anchor, I think start with Avian. That matchup is pretty good. You didn't use Avian in these last 2 matches, and if you're able to stop that opener, I don't think the Northwood team has, like, a super strong answer to Min-Min, except maybe Kirby, and I'm not even that confident. So I think that might actually be the play for Game 5.
Yeah, would not hate that at all, as Trisket looking to apply some pressure, already applying some decent pressure. Again, it's a miracle is potential to happen. I mean, we've seen some incredible stuff in these crew battles, but if Trisket were to win this, then they are the champion of Oakland forever and ever, and no one gets to take that from them. Like, this would have to be
I can't even
play of the century.
Yeah, of the century for sure. Like, play for the rest of Smash Ultimate's lifespan at this point.
Not just that, it's plays plural. You're not going. You have to do that again and again and again. And when you're already up to 70%, again, Snake is amazing at playing from these leads.
Yeah. Dropping the punish on that Bell there, gonna give Snake another chance, but the up air gonna do it. So now Trisket got 1 more stock, and maybe they can find another just to at least say, hey, we didn't get double 5 stocked, but who knows?
This is, if you were going to see anything happen, this would be the thing you need to see happen. Sai?
Yeah.
As right here, Trisket is showing that they maybe have the most clutch potential on the side of Oakland. Layering on some damage, Malachite looking for an opening, but as you're just drifting in, back-facing Pac-Man, Pac-Man doesn't really care and is just going to batter you right on back, looking for an opportunity to get a kill of their own.
Yeah, that would have been it if Trisket had found that Bell right there, but yeah, this is a crazy amount of momentum here. Oh, but you got to land against Snake. That's so scary. Hydrant just barely off the ledge. Going to give Trisket another opportunity here, but you got to stay away from those up tilts for sure. But Trisket is definitely fighting hard here. 106% is nothing really great, but maybe we can see Trisket sneak in 1 more stock, just as a parting gift to the Northwood team.
Bell on lock. Maybe looking to get key after this, but I don't even know. Ooh. Gets caught by the Nikita, 132%. And remember, Malachite's still got another stock here. Slowing the pace of the game down is exactly what Malachite wanted.
That's definitely what Malachite needed. Thought that they were going to be able to blow up the Hydra from there. I guess not. Apple almost going to take that stock here, but yeah, it's definitely a slower match at this point. And that back air going to do it. And now Northwood once again with another 5-stop victory over Oakland. And we have ourselves a Game 5 of the CECC Midwest Finals, Oakland versus Northwood.
And this hurts if you're Oakland. You beat them last night. You beat them the first round. And now they're just sitting here, and it's not even like a close, like, we almost got them. No, they have a lot to do to claw this back in. Like, it's not one player going on a crazy run. It's Copel and Frostbite going on little runs. Game 2, Copel takes 5, Frostbite takes, I think, 4. Game 3, Copel takes 4, Frostbite takes 5. Actually, no, am I reading this right? Oh my god, Frostbite took 7. Never mind. So yeah, Frostbite is going on a run, but also it's like it's Copel and Frostbite. At the end of the day, when you see these counterpick wars between teams, there's often one roadblock, one player who just refuses to beat their counter or to be beaten by their counterpick. And they are in a world of hurt. Every single time you have to adapt around the fact that no one can seem to actually do that, because if someone else needs to come in to take that person down, then that person's not available to counter who they were practicing to take down. And it's adaptation on the fly, but at this point that kind of Hail Mary play is the only real option afforded at Oakland.
Yeah, they have to stop Copel on this Game 5. I really do think their best chance is going to be Avian. The only thing in that matchup that could get a little bit dicey is that I feel like if Minman has to recover against K-Rule, it could be pretty tough, like especially like a drop zone neutral layer. That probably just instantly kills her at any percent. So I understand the risk of that, but you cannot allow Copel to get another big start for the Northwood team, because the one game that they won, they stopped Copel and they kind of kept their lead and just like inched forward, being slightly ahead of Northwood the entire rest of the set. But when Northwood got a lead, both times it was an immediate 5-stock W for Northwood. So this is definitely going to be tough, but you have to choose so carefully, not only starting this match against Copel, but definitely really, really got to take a fine-tooth comb to the roster and figure out at least which players have taken the most stocks and what they think is most likely to win from just player skill versus matchups, because Northwood is just on a freaking tear right now.
I mean, if you're looking for players who have taken the most stocks, that would be Anthony in the first crew battle taking 4, and Trisket in the last crew battle taking 4. And that's kind of it. And like, yeah, Anthony and Trisket, I feel like, have to be in the mix somewhere. But where Oakland won at first was, again, winning that first one, and then each player taking 3 stocks consistently. That's really all they've gotten. They have not had any of these explosive plays. They don't have that same X factor that it feels like Northwood has. And that's really biting them now when they need some sort of miracle. And try as Trisket might, it doesn't really seem like that might be it. And is this the next crew battle? It looks like it might be, as Rob is...
No. This is a replay. No. Okay,
this is a replay.
It is a
okay,
replay.
Awesome.
So they are going to be starting with Avian against Copel, which, again, I think that's the best idea for their team. Now, will it work out? Who's to say? I can't call it. But on paper, I think that's their best chance, not only just from, like, player skill, but also matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that a lot of people have to worry about their moves being beat out by just what Copel is doing, but a lot of the times with the good old 1-2, Avian is able to avoid that altogether with the 2 strong hits where, like, even if Copel is able to super armor through both of them somehow, you're still taking like 40%.
Right. Yeah, so let's see what we've got going here. Should be getting into the game here in just a moment. Oh, I forgot. That was such a sick play, finding the reverse up air after that crown. Yeah. Oh, this is the other thing, too. I forgot. The SD that round did not help do them any favors. He literally went from just tying it up immediately with that fair chain into SDing at 30% and giving Copel that fourth stock. And that tiny lead was all that Northwood needed to just ride that momentum into another 5-stock dub for the rest of the set.
Yep. And it's been talked to death in many a crew battle, but the problem with taking these leads is you put your opponent into a position where they literally have one mistake between them and losing, whereas you have 3 mistakes or 5 mistakes or 10 mistakes between you and losing. And I mean, everyone's going to make mistakes. Even the highest level player is going to make mistakes. They're going to get red. They're going to have something go wrong. But if they're able to handle that well and good, then that's kind of all she wrote in that regard.
And I think that's what we saw from Frostbite, too, because I don't want to forget that Frostbite took that first stock off Poison Jam like no problem, but then made a weird decision under the stage and got stage spiked, or maybe just got caught off guard, died at 30%, and then proceeded to take another 3 stocks after that. So Frostbite also threw a stock away early, unfortunately, but still recovered and was like, no big deal. I got this. Roy's still a huge problem, and really, really made a name for himself in this crew battle. So let's get started here. Hopefully in just a second. It looks like Copel's picking his character, which you know who you're going to pick, dude. But there we go. Now we're into this Min versus K-Rule Grand Finals, Game 5, Oakland versus Northwood. We finally have a better mix-up on who the Oakland team is starting with, but will Copel be able to remain steadfast as that dominating Northwood opener? And let's see how Avian is going to respond to how good Copel is at the beginning of these sets.
Immediate advantage from Avian right here for the exact reasons you called out.
Yes.
Copel really doesn't have a lot of setups outside of Crown that are going to do a lot from mid-range. And so Avian's burst range is just so large. But when Copel is able to thread the needle, it's going to be brutal.
Ooh, good patience right there, staying away from the blunderbuss too. Able to just kind of keep that spacing going. A drop zone megawatt fair. Gonna give Avian the first stock only at 60%. Copel got a little bit of a struggle going on here, it looks like. Oh!
Hangs out on ledge. That's not a safe place, my friend. As Avian, despite taking the first stock, is answered right back. But we're kind of in the same game as before. I would expect to see Copel go up to like 80%. And then all of a sudden evens it out. As a grab, going to give stage advantage once again, but a tech roll in. It's going to get right past all the pressure. Not enough delay between that good old 1-2 combo.
And that's a shame, too, because both of the arms are covering that tech roll. But I think Avian just needed to put like a little bit of a gap there because Copel was able to survive no problem. So Avian had a pretty strong start, but really struggling just to get some semblance of control here back towards the center stage. I think the ledge has proven to be a little bit more difficult for Avian's Min than I expected.
As Copel knocked back, tech chase situation, but a spike is all you need. One mistake, and Copel has you cooked. As Copel at the ledge, just going to get around it. Avian has been consistent with these timings here. Can they catch them? Yes, they can, but Copel's going to get yet another recovery, and again, knocked away. Is this one enough? Yes, it is. Copel not even a chance to grab ledge. Avian with an even one stock at the end, but you want to get the lead here. You want to get the finisher if Oakland has any shot at getting this #1 seed.
Yes, and it's definitely starting to spiral a little bit. You saw Avian trying to reflect the crown. Not a bad idea, but was off on the timing on an up smash. Copel just has so much momentum. And at these like 75 to 85% windows, we've seen Copel find a lot of strong kill moves with that dare to up smash. So Avian needs to be super careful. We did see a long edge guard sequence that went about the way I expected, but Avian cannot afford to lose this stock if he wants to give Oakland the lead that they need to just stay in this fight.
Copel looking for an opening with this crown. And I'm always scared seeing Copel sitting on a platform like this, being like, jump, I dare you. Go under me, I dare you.
You can tell
and honestly, seeing Avian going under that platform was terrifying for me.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's trying to set up for another dare to F smash or up smash. And as I say that, the crown to up air almost was a huge problem there. Odd punish from Avian, but let's see if he can capitalize. Kopel, terrified for his life, went all the way to the top, but Avian missed the punish, and that could potentially decide this. Oh, but the Dragon's Breath going to put him up in a really good position. Ram once again could be a huge problem, but the aggressive crown putting Kopel back on the stage. Very smart play.
Kopel hard in advantage right here. Going to get around that inhale. Another opportunity here, crown in hand. Not going to catch them with a megawatt. Kopel just rolling in, going around, threading the needle through those in. Yet another chance at life for Avian. Can they make it back to ledge? No, a preemptive megawatt is going to seal the deal. Kopel once again winning their opening matchup. No one can stop Kopel in the opening round.
That is grim if you're the Oakland team. I really do think Avian was the play, but Kopel just played that matchup really, really well. The way he navigated around Megawatt was something to commend for sure, because I feel like Avian put them in pretty good places, but Kopel was just really, really aware of when to like stop being aggressive and to just kind of like focus back on just movement. But yeah, I think that was the right play, but unfortunately for the Oakland team, Kopel was able to just barely eke that out, and now they have to choose their second character and really, really think carefully about who can immediately take that stock without Kopel getting any more damage.
Yeah, and twice in a row it's been Nad. Nad did well in the second one. I mean, obviously there was the unfortunate SD. But I feel, in my heart of hearts, I can't see it being Nad. I can't say Nad has not performed well against Kopel, especially in that last round. But I'm scared. I'm scared of it. I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony Isn't Cool coming out again. I feel like they had a nice back and forth match against Kopel. And if you get that back before the fourth comes, then I feel like Anthony is a better pick for the long run. And it does look like Anthony is going to be coming out looking to get this scoreline even in what is the last chance for Oakland to get back into an even scoreline with Northwood. It's gonna be tough, but Anthony Isn't Cool was a clutch player in the first round. Can he do it again? Remains to be seen.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play this so very carefully, because if he is able to beat Kopel and take that first stock, we already know that JJ is going to be coming right behind it to just, at minimum, take at least 2 from Anthony, I'm sure, because Anthony did a great job of surviving the edge guards against JJ last time, but it's just one of those things where it's like you know you have to be so incredibly on point. But let's see if we can make it happen. So, technically speaking on the stocks, Oakland only down 1 stock here, so still in a pretty solid position, but Kopel just has so much momentum and has done such a great job of just opening up all of these sets. I was a little cautious just because the first one in the set didn't go that great for Kopel opening things up, but ever since then, he's really just been taking a minimum of 3 to 4 stocks every single time that he's every other round. So let's see if Anthony can keep his cool and just take this stock without too much loss.
Tech chase on the platform here. Town and City is interesting to me because while you can kill Kopel fast, same is true for you. But I guess you'd rather have the ability to shut down Kopel before anything gets too hairy, as Kopel just wanted the stock right then and there.
You could definitely tell that Anthony's being really careful here. 35% limit about to come on deck here. Kopel got to be careful. Nair out of shield is going to give him something. Oh, but he gives up the air dodge. That could have been a finishing touch if Anthony was ready for it. Oh, but he overextended trying to find the limit side B. I could not tell you why, but he threw that stock away at only 46%. 2 really big misplays, and Kopel is more than happy to be in this scenario.
Oh, yet again. It looks like Oakland is going to get an even scoreline, and then Kopel pulls one out of nowhere.
Really does.
I mean, it's a tale as old as time. I feel like Kopel has consistently done this forever and ever. Anthony Isn't Cool will get that stock. So again, you're not at a massive deficit, but we've seen how these snowball. Let's see if Anthony Isn't Cool is able to stop the bleeding here, as we are in what looks to be an even scoreline if you haven't watched the past 2 crew battles.
Yeah, so now 8 stocks to 9 here. Copel, again, absolutely did his job, able to take 4 stocks and able to set Northwood up for a ton of success here. Next up, it hasn't been decided, but in my heart of hearts, I'm pretty confident they're going to send in JJ as their best case scenario just to make sure that Anthony doesn't go on a run here. Just because, I mean, there's a lot of other ways that, like say they send in like Malachite, for example. No shade to Malachite whatsoever, but Cloud can really steal stocks from Snake pretty easy. Yeah, right there. Like, it was a scramble scenario where he forced Copel to burn his air dodge, and obviously, hindsight is 2020. I'm just in the caster chair, so, you know, far be it for me to say, oh, I would have done X, Y, Z. But definitely just gave up that stock without needing to. Even right there, I figured that was going to be like finishing touch time. I mean, the finishing touch he found earlier against So Good Pop was way harder to find, low-key. But either way, yeah, Copel definitely did his job here. We're going to be finding out in just a couple of mere moments who it's going to be. But chat, let us know who you think is going to possibly do this. Do you think it's going to be the Northwood team, or do you think Oakland is going to be able to clutch up and take this final game against Northwood to submit themselves as the 1 seed?
Yeah, and I feel like in the grand scheme of things, this is kind of poetic. Like you didn't want to beat Northwood just because they were having an off weekend. You want to beat Northwood at your best. Mm-hmm. So obviously it would have been great if Oakland was able to get a 3-0, but it would have been a lot easier to write that off. Now we see in the best of 3 it was a 2-1. If Oakland pulls it out here, it'll be a 3-2. You went the distance, and that is what is important. But Northwood clawing to maintain their number 1 spot. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. Even though Oakland and Northwood, in terms of local placements, in terms of regional placements, in terms of collegiate placements, has consistently been head-to-head with Oakland, it's always been Northwood that takes it in the end in the collegiate crew battles. So we'll see here if JJ is able to cement Northwood's lead, or if Anthony Isn't Cool can make some miracles happen and keep Oakland in this race.
Now, I will say the last time they had to interact with each other, Anthony played incredible and really avoided a lot of the edge guard scenarios we expect to see from Kirby, even footstooling JJ, which probably doesn't happen that often. But now he's playing this from a stock down, so there's even more pressure on, your back is to the ropes. You know that you're still down this stock, and it's also been 2 5 stocks back-to-back as a response, as you've been so very close to the finish line here. So all the pressure is on, but Anthony, very seasoned tournament player, just like JJ, so hopefully he can keep his composure. Meanwhile, JJ trying to sneak in a couple of forward airs there, hanging out of the ledge, threatening inhale, of course, but Anthony not taking the bait just yet.
Yeah, just sitting there like, JJ, I know you want to hit me. I know you want to hit me, but nothing's safe. And now JJ is put in a dangerous position. Borderline kill percent, but able to get the parry on the first hit of that, rolls away. And now we see Anthony Isn't Cool just fishing for more of these landing aerials. They cover the ground so well. Dash attack scoops up, and JJ is having trouble finding any airspace, any ground space where they're permitted to be.
Wow, that dash attack nearly taking that stock for Anthony, only at 30%. And of course, JJ's like, hey, I'm at the ledge. You know what not to do. All right, that back air could have set up for some real trouble there. Tried to sneak in the dare, wasn't able to get it. You see Anthony trying to threaten those back airs. I like the idea from JJ to just kind of crouch down and pancake to avoid it. But unfortunately, the second one connected while JJ was holding down. So that was just a horrible angle for Kirby, and that's going to give him the stock. Ooh, nice recovery again from Anthony.
Ooh, tries to go for a drag down fair, but right now Anthony is doing a great job of making this happen. Not a miracle happen, but the plays you need, the consistent plays, the kind of plays that won Oakland the first crew battle. We'll see if they're able to get even more of those now, as Anthony Isn't Cool looking for an opportunity here. Gets these up Bs out of shield so well, especially against JJ.
For sure. Definitely got ourselves at least somewhat of an even game here. And that dare! Kirby reminding us of how light Kirby is. Nearly dying off the top of that platform. And the limit climb hazard out of nowhere. Such a great anti-air option. And now Oakland, for the first time in what feels like, I don't know, like an hour and a half, has somewhat of the tiniest lead against the Northwood team. But JJ definitely going to not go out without a fight. Still swinging here. Still trying to find the answer and finds the down air. Going to even up the stocks. Excellent, excellent play from JJ.
Those lingering hitboxes at ledge is right here. Forward air drag down, but great DI down to get out of that combo. Now Anthony looking for a potential to get something started of their own. Gets a spot dodge, even percents now.
For sure. All right, fair to dash attack. Great damage and still forces Anthony off stage. No air dodge there. Got reset right there. JJ trying to end it all with the cutter. That would have been super smart. Regrabbing the ledge is so scary. Limit neutral B going to cover the ledge really well. JJ very close to going out here, but Anthony for sure putting up a great fight for Oakland. Oh, and the dare's going to do it. And the triple just as the bonus. This is what I was afraid of.
That stock might have been the tournament.
That might have been it, yeah.
That might have been it. I mean, Anthony had it all, but then an optimistic dash grab to the edge was all Jeja needed to take a losing disadvantaged position and turn it into a triple down air spike. And there's something so demoralizing about knowing you're dead and knowing that you need Jeja to make a mistake in order for you to live this recovery, and knowing that Jeja is not going to make a mistake.
Yeah, and I think even from Anthony's position, he's like, maybe I can get like the up B drag down or something, but from that angle, Jeja absolutely knew how to space it, just stayed really far above Cloud and just punished it on whiff every single time, 3 times in a row, just as a reminder why that matchup can get so tough out of nowhere.
And we talk about the familiarity these two have for each other, and it was showcased, I feel like, in this matchup more than any other. The way these very player-specific counters to recovery habits, to on-shield habits, came out with the reverse up Bs, with so many things. Drop shield forward tilt to catch a drift behind. Like, again and again and again, we saw these players have amazing counter picks. Obviously, still just as even as it once was. This is the most even it's been since the first crew battle. But you got to get past Jeja. And Anthony Isn't Cool was the answer.
Yes, I definitely think he definitely did his job. Stopped the bleeding for sure. That limit Clem hazard was really smart too. But now, coming in for the Oakland team, we have Rob coming back to the stage as Snake. Of course, Rob Snake is really good. It's an interesting matchup, Rob Kirby. Or, excuse me, not Rob Kirby. LOL. Snake Kirby. Rob is not who's going to be playing. But I feel like if Kirby's able to get an inhale on Snake, Kirby being able to kind of like air camp you with grenades, it is a slog. It is tough to get through. Also, off-stage shenanigans. Kirby back here definitely wrecks Cypher. Dare not as much, so it's going to be really careful. Or Rob's going to have to be really careful on the ways he comes back to the stage. But all that aside, Oakland is still only down 1 stock, and they still can do this. But Rob has to make something happen right out the gate here.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. Rob doing some IDJs, getting the hands warm. Rob was a key player in the first crew battle, shutting down Copel, now with another opportunity to shut down a key player in Jeja. Let's see if they're able to execute here as Jeja refuses to be the one to engage. Okay.
Oh, wow, he didn't take the grenade. Interesting. Maybe he just wants to keep the inhale just for edge guarding? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but ooh, the double grenade is going to be a combo in and of itself. 62% on Jeja.
Oh, he's playing really solid right now. He's doing that thing where he's like switching the grenades around, kind of the same way that you see Shogun doing it. It's like a weird way you can see drop out of your grenade pool that's really cool. So good stuff to Rob for sure, showing us some tech. Got a lot of damage on Jeja. Jeja's got to recover carefully. The down tilt 2-frame is going to be a disaster, but the response of that cutter almost gave Jeja a really easy stop.
A little too much faith in that, but that down tilt trip is going to be almost lethal at 70%. Right here, spot dodge in the scramble is going to put Jeja on the edge. Jeja doesn't blink like that.
No. Really good presence of mind to air dodge away from that rock. Jeja finds a lot of niche kills with the rock, which is so funny because at low level, it's like it should never hit you. But once you get to a high level, there's like weird scenarios where you're like, oh, I actually forgot how powerful this move is. But either way, you see Rob had a pretty good lead, just doesn't want to throw it away, just needs to take this first stock and at least tie the game up here. Dare out of shield, really good option, still not just enough to kill just yet. And the narrow the Nikita was very smart from Jeja.
You know, I've got my eye on that C4 because it's been there for a while at this point.
Yeah,
I
it's
hope it doesn't
close.
explode on its own. But Dash Attack not going to quite do it yet. Following them all the way up with Nikita, forcing a down B. Grenade going to put in another situation where Jaja is a single hit away from death. And an explosion somewhere is going to do it. I think that was a grenade.
Yes.
But regardless, Jaja's out of here.
It was a cooked grenade, but I had the same thought. I was like, oh man, we're like 4 seconds out on C4 explosion. I really need Rob not to run over there and check on it for a particular reason. I've been there in tournament. It's tough. I've had matches where like I'm getting the game-winning Nikita kill on somebody, and my C4 blows up and kills me right prior, and it's just like, oh, this feels terrible. But
Brutal.
Rob stayed away from it and was able to clutch, especially with a cooked grenade of all things to kill Kirby. I mean, that's a pretty light character, but something does have to get the job done eventually. And now, for the first time in a while, we have ourselves 6 stocks to 6, so this could go either way. Looking at the Northwood roster, good options that they have to come back in here. They still have So Good Pop. They still have Z, who, again, really, really good player to counterpick Snake. But they also still have Frostbite, who's just been going on great runs. So I don't really think from here out there's a objectively wrong person to throw in, but I would definitely lean more towards Z, maybe Frostbite, probably So Good Pop, third choice for this. Not player skill or anything like that, just for the matchups, I would say. And it is going to be Z.
Z is going to be the pick coming out here. You talked about it a lot, but just to reset the stage, Z is going to be able to detonate a lot of grenades with auto reticle, going to be able to pressure with explosive flame on the relatively slow recovery. It's just difficult to get that same level of zoning out when you're constantly being harassed, and then when you finally do get in, you find a wall between you and your opponent. So Rob is going to have a lot of work to do to play this matchup well. Z has never gone up against a full 3-stock Rob, is usually coming in to clean up Rob. So here in this match, we were talking about that 1 stock between Anthony and JJ possibly being the decider. Rob made it so it wasn't the decider, and made it so Northwood couldn't snowball their lead.
Which was really, really important. And, of course, even going back to Anthony, the way he was able to kind of sneak in that extra stock, too, definitely was able to close the gap. And this is what we saw when Oakland did win. They were, like, slightly ahead, but they were able to just, like, very, very narrowly keep Northwood out of getting, like, a big lead. Games 3 and 4 were very, very tough. That was all Northwood all day. But yeah, I think it's very fitting that for our final game, it is 6 stocks apiece. It's super even. But I will say, as far as just counterpicking goes, it would be a little bit on the Northwood side. And Oakland has already had to expend Anthony Isn't Cool and Avian. So that means that I would say the last 2 players obviously are going to be Rob, and then I think they'd have to finish out with Trisket.
Yeah, Trisket has just put on such a clinic. Obviously, I feel like Northwood is ready for the Trisket anchor at this point. But, I mean, Trisket has tried to be the hero player, has taken 4 stocks, which is big. So we'll see if Trisket is able to come in the clutch in the end. But if Rob is able to get a lead here, that'd be huge. One team is walking away from this match with a lead. And that is very important as... I mean, going into this last battle, it's going to be tense. You do not want to be the last person on your team who is going to get counterpicked.
Exactly. So, but yeah, we should be getting into this in just a moment here. Oops, microphone almost left me. Once again, I do remember Z being a pretty big problem for Rob. Maybe he learned something in the interaction they had there in a moment. Or also, you said a lot of these people play at the same locals, so could be some matchup knowledge that can come into play here. But yeah, I think things are looking pretty good for Northwood University, especially if they're able to get a big win here for Z. Because if it does go that way and Trisket has to come in against Z, I feel like Pac-Man Palutena is probably not that awesome for Pac-Man. So definitely going to be a struggle on both of these characters if Z is able to keep the momentum going for the Northwood team.
Yeah, Z, Palutena, but Z especially is kind of like a fly swatter for like all these mid tiers with all these like setups and traps and all this stuff. Palutena just goes, I'd like to just fight you straight up and with better tools than you have.
Exactly.
So yeah, I do not hate Z coming in here. Rob, I do want to compliment, by the way. We talked about it in the game, but Rob had just like I feel like that was the best performance we've seen out of Rob. Maybe there's something to be said about the fact that Rob wasn't under constant pressure like Rob was against Copel, against Frostbite. But regardless, if Rob is able to keep up that consistent level of play where you are being so tricky with the grenade placements, where the cook grenades are always going in your favor, not the opponent's, that will be crucial. Z, on the other hand, is trying to set up a little bit of an obstacle course for Rob. Make it so Rob has to think a lot harder about every single move they make. And when you're too busy thinking about moving, you're not thinking about how to win.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a very, very careful match as far as like stage position for sure. And the counter pick on the stage is going to be rough too. Like, can you refresh my memory on how the stage picking works in collegiate crews? Because to my knowledge, in like standard crews, it's just kind of okay. The person that's coming in next just kind of picks the stage to just kind of get stage advantage. Is that the same here, or are the rules a little different?
I'm double checking the match right here, but I do believe it's 3 bans and then pick.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this will be bans.
I don't know what the full stage list is off the top of my head, but it's usually 3 bans then pick. And it does look like... All right, they're going to go town and city.
Okay.
So, wide open. I feel like that's a good pick for Z. Snake doesn't, unless he's catching you on the recovery, really not killing off of the side as much. Not nearly as much as Palutena, who might be able to get a 2-frame, who might be able to get a pop-up with the down tilt. And Z, overcoming a bit of connection issues right there, is back online, is back in here, and they're ready for Town and City.
All right, so sorry for the delay. It sounds like it was a little bit of a technical one on Z's part there. But yeah, I feel like Town and City is solid. I mean, obviously, there's no world where Battlefield wasn't the ban in this matchup against Palutena. Yeah, I think she'll definitely take advantage of the stage a little bit better than Snake can. Outside of F-Tilt and Nikita, you're pretty good to go against him on a stage like that with like the shorter horizontal blast zones. Meanwhile, Palutena back air is a huge problem everywhere, but especially on Town and City. So it's definitely going to be one where Rob has to just really navigate getting off the ledge. I think that's going to be the number one tough thing. It's like down tilt covers the ledge so well for everybody, but especially Snake. And if he's able to kind of like hop back up there with those B-reverse grenades like we saw earlier, where he just kind of brings a grenade with his back facing towards you, that's an option, but it's still not amazing, you know?
Yeah, and at low percent, immediate advantage towards Z. Oh my gosh, right in the explosive flame every single time. 65% from pretty much just pure specials, as Rob is at a significant disadvantage to start out.
Yeah, and I think Z's really locked in too. Like, not one grenade has prospered against him just yet. Being able to add in that explosive flame, that destroys the grenade, it blows you up, it's a ton of shield pressure, and even if they're able to shield it all, there's nothing bad that happens to Palutena for it.
Yeah. The one thing Rob hasn't been able to do yet is I feel like Town and City is the perfect distance for like perfectly cooked grenade throws. Like when you just have more range, you don't have to worry about them catching or shielding or anything. Like you can much more easily space that kind of thing. So Rob is trying to get some sort of chip damage from that, but as it stands now, Z is just running away with the neutral game. Rob has to close the distance somehow.
Yeah, and Z, again, not overcommitting, not trying to like force this stock, still playing the same game plan, still going, my projectiles are going to just blow yours up and give me all this free damage. But Rob starting to claw his way back in there a little bit. Sneaking that dash stack in was great to force Z off stage. Now, with all this rage, up tilt or something of that like would definitely do it. Definitely a C4, so. But Rob unfortunately drops shield a little bit too early and gets tagged by that last second of the explosive flame. Nice.
Ooh. Up smash, gonna catch him. Z teleports onto stage. A nice parry there, but no finding the kill. And honestly, I felt like that stock was like really uneven towards Z. And yet, well, Rob has done the due diligence of getting Z to kill percent. So that is good. Like, after a very uneven start, Rob has definitely made this much better. And again, this match could decide it all. This is who is forced to their last player.
All right. Wasn't able to find the dash stack either. Again, this very methodical, slow gameplay from Palutena is exactly why this matchup is just so tough for Snake, unfortunately. All right, that back throw could set up to a disaster if he's not careful. I love Z going for the aggressive dare, trying to just sneak that stock out at only 56%. But yeah, Oakland is really looking like they're in a tough situation from here on out.
Yeah, back air, not going to finish it. It was a soft hit. Nikita now, but with a teleport recovery, you don't have to worry about that timing quite as much.
We are now in the range where down throw up tilt is officially true. So if Z gets grabbed, that is going to for sure be that stock. But okay,
no need.
Spot dodge at the ledge, going to give Rob a chance there. So now 5 stocks apiece, still down by a lot of percent. But that neutral air is a great way to start climbing back into this game.
Oh, so much pressure on the shield right there. Grenade forcing the recovery. Oh my gosh. You love to see it, but Rob got 5% off of that. And
yeah.
Sage control, but like still, you need to be getting more off of those punishes. And this is what we're seeing Rob do a little bit more now.
Yeah, he's really picking his shots carefully, but as I say that, the back air kind of just going to decide his fate. Of course, it covers so much space, and it's also invincible in the shield, but we're on Town and City, so on the off chance I had any trouble killing, it definitely doesn't struggle to kill here.
Oh, I love that drag down into the grenade. Puts them in a much more dangerous percent. Dash attack gonna catch them again. Just getting far away from that explosive flame. Don't want to risk anything at all, but not gonna get away from that one as Z is stacking up the percent on Rob's last stock. Catches the neutral getup.
All right, that actually decided the first time they interacted, it was that down smash from midair, but didn't come through this time. Z, once again, really high percents, but Rob has to struggle so hard just to find a way to actually secure the kill. She's hard to grab. She's probably going to be like doing a lot of rising neutral air and just, putting out all those hitboxes. Rob almost found the throw that he needed, but Z's movement has been really good, and again, is very committed to just playing as safe as possible to not throw this away.
Ooh, fourth throw.
Punish. Yeah, I think Epso would have been the play there, but 4 tilt gonna come out. So now 4 stocks apiece, only separated by 80%. So Oakland can definitely still do this. And
catches the jump. Oh my gosh, Rob!
A double neutral air is crazy. Now both players only 15% apart here. Back throw not gonna happen. Grenade gonna interrupt it, but the explosive flame in the scramble once again gonna just set Z up for success.
Cool. Z goes up, is able to get back down to the ground, but will back throw be the finisher? Yes, it was, especially on Town. But Z was made to work for it in the end there. After what a dominant start, Rob clawed their way back into that, but eventually the lead that Z was building on every single stock, a little too much. Now 3 stocks remain on Oakland, 4 on Northwood.
Yeah, just a little bit too much. I think the double neutral air was such a big momentum shift, though. I mean, that was so much free damage, and it was so important for him to find it. But Z was able to weather the storm, especially with drag down up air, back air. That was really, really smart. Knew he didn't have the height to be able to finish the up air because it just lasts so long. But good presence of mind. So now 3 stocks to 4. Oakland down by 1. Most likely going to send in Trisket as their anchor, or actually they could send in Nad. I think we saw Nad kind of getting neutralized by Copel's K rule, but that's not necessarily a factor anymore. So who knows exactly who they're going to send in for this? But yeah, Northwood still looking solid, and they still have So Good Pop or Frostbite as their final anchor. So no matter what's going on for the Oakland team, it is going to be a tough one.
All the way back when they won, the only other time Z was in, it was Nad who was sent out as the counter pick. So I would not hate to see Nad coming out, especially because against both Frostbite and So Good Pop, I feel like Nad doesn't have a terrible matchup. And it is actually going to be Nad coming out on the Mario for the last champion of Oakland. If these 3 stocks from Nad go down, that's it. Dunzo. It is all... It is all back to the side of Northwood in a reverse sweep, which is going to be heartbreaking for Oakland if they let it come to pass. But Nad is not going to be easy to take down.
Yeah, Nad's definitely got a ton of work to do over here, but who knows exactly how this is going to go down. Nad could definitely do it. I almost want to say that we've seen Nad get multiple combos that lead into forward air, but has just missed a spike all day, possibly maybe maybe this is the time where he's able to start finding those and able to take those really early stocks, especially at the ledge. I mean, Mario can just kind of rob you of a stock anywhere from like 40 to 50, and even if it doesn't work, you're in those latter percents too. But Nad has to find those big plays here for sure.
All right. All coming down to this close match, much closer than the past two crew battles. This is Oakland's final stand. If they can do this, they have cemented themselves as new kings of the Midwest in the CECC, but they're not there yet. In fact, they're a little bit farther away than they were back at the beginning of this, when it felt like Oakland had it in the bag. Now, Northwood, I mean, it goes back to the narrative from the first crew battle that we saw, where Northwood would go down to their last stock and then bring it all the way back. But in that crew battle, it was always Oakland who was one step ahead. Mm-hmm. Since that time, it's been the Northwood show all day, but I'm thinking that this might be the time we get it to turn around and see Oakland take it.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell, but thinking about like the specifics of this matchup, definitely kind of a dicey one. Palutena is another character where like if she's getting a reversal out of like those ladder scenarios that Mario loves to be in, reversal up air is really strong. Neutral air is probably a pretty good problem, pretty good way to keep him out. Down tilt at the ledge is going to be really, really effective against Mario, so that's definitely not a battle. But it is only going to be one Z stock, so it might not be too terrible to deal with, but we've got to see nothing but like just immaculate play from Nad. And as you said, I was mistaken coming into this, of course. Even if they do go down, sure, they don't get the seeding that they want, but they are still qualified to go to the finals next year, and I cannot tell you how much I love CECC. Every year I'm able to be a participant in it. It makes me so happy. So, shout outs to both teams just for making it this far, and I'm excited to see how things shake out later in the year, next year.
Yeah, big things from both of them. Like, I do want to like state that like the first message sent in the like finals thread was like, "Hey, congrats for making it to the finals. Like, I'm glad we're both going again." It's like, these two teams do like each other. Like, we talk about them playing a lot, but like they have a history together. Good, bad, a little bit of both, but obviously they both want to be the one winning it. The thing that cemented that they both want really badly to win this was Trisket putting on a show with only one stock remaining. That was it. It showed that Oakland isn't just like, well, we got the seeding we wanted, GG's, we'll get you at the finals. No, they're like, we want this badly. Right. We don't want Northwood to just be the standard lock-in.
Yeah, again, apologies for the delay. I'm not sure if it's necessarily something happening on Z side again or maybe from Nad. I'm not sure exactly what the delay is, but either way, I do really want to get into our final game here. 3 stocks to 4. Game 5 definitely going a lot better for Oakland. They are down, but it's not nearly the deficit that we saw in games 2 and 3 today. So couldn't really tell you how this is exactly going to go down, but definitely excited to get started here and just hopefully a couple more moments.
Yeah, looking back historically, like we were looking more specifically at the matchup itself. The way Nad dealt with Z in the previous matchup was 100% just they were kind of smothering Z because like while Palutena has some good get-off-me tools. Sorry, I'm just keeping up with the thread where we're finding out what exactly is happening right here.
I see. Yeah, I'm about to check too.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just little bit of a technical foul here, but we're getting it through. Might be some penalties for timing, but this is just strike one. But regardless, what I was getting at was Nad was kind of smothering Z. Because while Palutena has like a lot of get off me tools, if the person is like at mid to close range, if they're right on top of them pushing buttons like Mario does, there's not really a lot of opportunities to like reversal them with a random really fast move. Not like Mario Nair or Mario back air or Mario up air or Mario like, you know.
Right.
Like, Palutena just doesn't have those same tools. If you're gonna punish Mario hitting you on shield, you have to be ready to catch the cross up with an up smash. You can't just expect it to hit just because they're close to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully we can get this soon. Not really sure what the delay is. I don't know. It feels like we're so close to the end of all of this, and I don't know if we're
PS2 just got picked.
There we
they're
go.
in. Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication, but they managed to get it out in the end here as one last little asterisk on this game, and we are into it. And I mean, you know, players taking their time. It's the end. It's a little unfortunate, but we are back in it just in a second. Yeah, just literally just rearranging the player order so it looks right on the overlay. But now we're in it.
Okay,
It's Nad,
there we go.
97, 3 stocks on Nad to take down Z, take down whoever the last player on Northwood's going to be. It all comes down to this. Literally all comes down to this.
Yes. All right, Z gonna throw away those first 2 stocks. PS2, interesting choice here. I feel like Mario's good on PS2, but Palutena is a little bit scarier. IMO on this stage, it's really, really easy for her to just kind of sneak a stock away, especially in a scenario like a crew battle where like she only really has to take the one, but who knows exactly how this is gonna shake out. Right now, things looking good for Z, getting those neutral air chains, not able to find the up air finisher that he wanted, but definitely still putting some good damage on that.
Counters the approaching fireball there, but Nad getting outranged a tad, not getting to smother Z like we were talking about in aerials, in pressure. So Z doing a great job at keeping their distance in this opening exchange. But I say that, oh my gosh.
Wow.
I saw the red sparks there.
Me too. I really thought that was going to do it. That's crazy. Z just barely living, not going to die to that Mario ladder here. Of course, if Nad is able to do this and we get 3 stocks to 3 for the finale, that's everything that Oakland could ask for and more. So Nad has to stay defensive, has to avoid losing the stock at all costs to Z. But that ladder not doing it might have been a little bit stressful for him, but let's see what the down throw is going to lead to. Not able to find the back air, not at least percent at least, but Nad definitely still got his foot on the gas.
Ooh, spot dodge gonna get called out hard by that grab. And now with that down tilt, you're not gonna confirm. And so Nad gets back onto stage. Nad, opportunity here to get an even stock count for the end. But Z goes for it all. Another ledge situation, another scramble. Oh my gosh, Nad trying to read rolls that aren't existing.
Yeah, this is getting really, really close here. Percents totally even. Gotta avoid that explosive flame. On stage, fair is a really interesting aggressive option here, but who is going to draw first blood? Will it be Z? Will it be Nad? It looks like Nad's able to do it, and now we have ourselves final game, 3 stocks apiece. Just going to run a fair one here between Oakland University and Northwood's final player.
All right. I mean, Sai, we've taken a bumpy road to get here. We saw Oakland get the initial 2-0 crew battle lead. We saw Northwood take it back in rather dominant fashion. Literally couldn't be closer than this. 3 stocks to 3 stocks. 1 set between these 2 teams. Now, of course, Northwood has the counterpick advantage, but at the end of the day, no one that they've sent in against Nad has really been like an invalidating counterpick. You have Frostbite, you have SGP, you have opportunities. Historically, it has been Frostbite, and Frostbite has won. But usually Frostbite is just cleaning up other people's scraps. Usually it's not Frostbite winning handedly over Nad. We'll see what happens here and now. Frostbite is coming in.
All right, we're going to be getting Frostbite to finish us off here. I think that's a good idea, especially like you said, if he has the set record on his side, no reason not to send him in here and see if he can get the job done. But this time there's no extra stocks on either side of the team. It is just a regular match. 3 stocks apiece to decide us all, and I can't think of anything more fitting for our finale than to be here right after going all the way up to this Game 5 for the finals. So nothing but just, you know, 2 opponents who know each other and just a completely fair shot at who's going to be deciding the winner here. But in the meantime, we've got Nad just chilling in the ring here, and Frostbite for sure is going to be a huge threat. Now, I feel like for Mario Roy, if I had to get into like matchup stuff, I'm going to guess probably pretty even. I feel like both players scrap in the same range. They both have like pretty explosive combos and strings if you're caught with the wrong thing. But I would imagine this is a pretty even matchup too. So I think it's mostly just going to come down to strictly player skill to decide this.
All right. So, Frostbite getting in the ring. PS2 has been selected. Even across the board, I mean, like you said, Mario's scary on PS2. Roy's scary on PS2. We're in the game. There's no more speculation. It's time. Oakland versus Northwood is decided here. One of them is guaranteed a top 4 seed in the national finals at CECC Texas. So this has stakes.
Huge stakes, and you definitely need that seeding to be on your side because CECC Texas has just so many crazy talented players. Sonics, Jackal, Lima, Anarchy, just nothing but killers over there. So you definitely want to come in with the best possible scenario. So right now, getting into this final game here, looks like Frostbite is finding a lot of success with these balling up airs, getting some good strings off it. But as I said, Nad coming back.
Love that.
Trying to find the cape of all things to take a quick sock from Frostbite, so he's definitely got to stay on his P's and Q's.
Ooh,
nice.
Going out for this cape every time. Nad with the early lead.
Yeah, really strong start from Nad.
I mean, Frostbite's trying to open it back with that little scramble on the ledge, but Nad has just been brutal. Love the up B out of shield. One of the best in the game, by the way. But a side B at 80% under the side platform. That's all you need is Roy. Just a little side B.
Yeah, and maybe Nad was trying to roll away, I'm not sure, but that side B angle was especially unforgiving, so now we have ourselves 2 stocks apiece. This game could not be much closer down to the wire here.
Ooh,
nice.
Back air to shield, not going to get you much combo, as despite an early lead, Frostbite has taken it back and given them 20% for good measure. But speaking of good measure, finishing with the forward air right there, Nad has stayed in the lead, but is Side B going to finish it? No, not quite.
Still saving his jump, thankfully. I've been saying it all day. At some point, Nad is going to find those forward airs, and he finds it, but it doesn't matter because Frostbite is able to clean it up. 1 stock apiece. Will it be Oakland? Will it be Northwood? Who is to say? But right now, Frostbite in the driver's seat, 44%. A lot of momentum riding on his side, but he's got to be careful with Mario on this stage because one good confirm on these platforms could decide the entire battle.
Oh, the roll in after that tech in place, and Nad read it, but didn't execute. And now Frostbite has another lease on life. Back here, a jab lock forward smash. Is that going to be it? Oakland is able to bring it all the way back after going down to match point against Northwood. They're able to keep their lead, stop the reverse sweep, and that is Oakland defeating Northwood, their bracket demon, and getting the top 4 seed at CECC May Madness.
Huge congratulations from Oakwood. It would have been really easy to just let your mentality get away from you, especially after getting double 5 stock when you were 1 away from winning it all. But keeping everything close, being able to find, of all things, a jab lock and an F smash to seal things out, that has to feel so good if you're on the Oakland squad, and even better for Nad. What a great way to clutch up. Great response. Did have to come into a stock deficit, but was able to do it for Oakland. You got to give it up for him, and you got to just say a huge congratulations to the entire Oakland roster. I know this is something they've wanted for a long time, and today was the day they were able to do it. So, like you said, not only are they, of course, qualified for CECC Texas next year, but now they get one of those coveted top 4 spots by being the strongest team in the entire Midwest region we've seen so far. So congratulations to Oakland. Great work from Northwood as well. Of course, they'll still be there being, monstrously powerful last time. Both teams were able to finish in the top 5 area. So good stuff to them, but huge congrats to Oakland for being our champions of the Midwest Regionals.